My dad made me choose one of the 10 goddesses to marry. This video is purely for entertainment and does not violate copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and the image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 126 King Family Banquet. Lin was not joking. This was the only way Yan could survive. After the filming, he took out the silver needle from his belt and stimulated several of Yan's acupuncture points to help her stop the bleeding. I know you haven't fainted. Now you have two options. First, I will kill you and then release the video to embarrass the Yi family again. Second, open your eyes and make a deal, Lin said, putting down the phone. In his pocket, he deadpanned. Yi Yang, who was lying motionless, suddenly bit his lip, opened his red eyes, and looked at Lin coldly. What deal? Let the Yi family calm down for the next few days and don't make trouble for them. Shin. Lin stood up and stretched, otherwise, this little video may spread. If I agree, you have to delete it. Yan said sternly. We'll talk of this later. In this situation, you have no room to negotiate. Let's go. Lin greeted Yan and left with his hands in his trouser pockets. Yan looked at Lin's back with frightening eyes, wishing to tear Lin to pieces. Dusk. Zhuang left early for home to exercise. Lin was present to teach him how to fight. The most difficult thing for an ancient warrior is to create something from scratch. At least train Zhuang to the special forces level. Get some rest, you've reached your limit. Lin lifted Zhuang off the ground and walked towards the living room. Zhuang felt every part of her body throbbing, took a deep breath, and followed Lin unsteadily to the bathroom. Afterwards, after a while, she put on a clean dress and went out drying her hair. I want to ask you something. Zhuang took out an invitation letter from the bag on the sofa and handed it to Lin. This is what King gave me. Bang. Lin looked at her strangely. Business banquet. Yes, there will be a banquet at the King family tomorrow. I heard from King Pen that the King family is going to announce a big event. Zhuang sat next to Lin and asked, are you going? Lin nodded, worried that he would have no chance. He nodded, go, why don't you go? Hey, I'm really confused. I don't want to be related to the trash King Pen, but I also don't want to waste this opportunity to meet people. Zhuang was a little unsure, so she asked Lin's advisor. I'll go with you tomorrow. Lin lay down and rested her head on Zhuang's legs. Her eyes were blinded again. Get lost. Zhuang's face turned red and he spit out, find your other fiancé. Lin suddenly looked surprised when he heard this. Is it not good to be defeated by Zhuang's figure? On the single sofa on the other side and took out the photo of his fiancé. Take a look at the figures of other fiancés you don't know yet. But Lin was a little disappointed. After careful comparison, Zhuang was the biggest. Autumn. Zhuang crossed her arms and coughed lightly. I'll cook in a while. If you can finish everything I cook, I'll let you lie down for another minute. Zhuang, you're looking at me. Do you think I will surrender to your body? Lin put the photo back into his pocket and said calmly, the main thing is that I'm really hungry, hurry up and cook for me. TCH. Zhuang pursed her lips, but I feel happy. If you want to capture a man's heart, you must first capture his stomach. Then combine it with a trash girl's third date to make men feel dependent on you. After success, men will become obedient pets. Zhuang planned to make Lin like her cooking skills. If you don't obey from now on, you won't be able to cook for him. Lin was going to lie down on the double sofa for a while and then threw the bag onto the single sofa next to him. But a black notebook fell out of Zhuang's bag. Lin took it, flipped through a page, and found that the title was Scumbag Girls Quotes. He flipped through his notebook, and they were all copied by Zhuang himself, with more than 100 entries. This Zhuang is a bit of a silly and cute attribute. Lin rolled his eyes and checked it carefully. It was some simple psychology. It is better to say that it is a love guide than a quote from a bastard. Lin, come and serve the food. Zhuang's voice came from the kitchen. Oh. Lin agreed and put the notebook back into her bag. This time Zhuang cooked 3 dishes, all of them homemade dishes. Lin took a bite with his chopsticks and widened his eyes in shock. Okay. Foolishness. Zhuang sat across from Lin and nodded in satisfaction. He felt that his plan was going well. From now on, when Lin became dependent on her, she would let him wash her feet all day long. She was a woman who held a grudge, and Lin's harassment of her was recorded in the notebook. The next day, Zhuang was exercising in the yard as usual. After that, he started to prepare breakfast. With Lin's consent, he was also going to visit the Kane family, not to cooperate with the Kane family, but to meet other local businessmen. Zhuang drove to the company first. This time the party started at 10 o'clock in the morning, which was still early. Fen Lin also drove to the Narcissus Club, and before leaving, she discussed with Zhu Ruang that Fen Lin was not planning to follow her at this time. There is some danger around Fen Lin, and letting Zhu Ruang follow her will put her in an unfavorable situation. Zhu Ruang also agreed, but they just didn't go in together. As long as Fen Lin is here, he will feel at ease. Fen Lin and Sikong Jin were sitting in the cafeteria. Sikong Jin drank fizzy happy water, while Fen Lin drank beer. After understanding it, those ancient warriors suddenly retreated yesterday. It should be Yan's doing. Mr. Fen Lin, the King family didn't send me an invitation letter. Can we go there? Yi Shen came from a distance and asked with a smile. I can definitely go, let's go. Fen Lin patted Sikong Jin on the shoulder. The fourth son was too beautiful to be suitable for such an occasion. Yan Yuibai went to King's house early. Kim family mansion. Fen Lin was not driving his Wuling Hongwen. This time he represented Yi Shen. Driving the magic car seemed too deliberate. He drove Yi Shen's Maserati Quadriport to the outside of the mansion. The two got out of the car together and entered the King family mansion. The security guard at the door did not stop Fen Lin. After all, someone who could drive such a car was definitely not an ordinary person. The two arrived inside the mansion without problems. On the lawn in the distance, people in twos and threes gathered together chatting. Fen Lin noticed Zhu Ruang, who was chatting with several businessmen. Sir, just call me Fen Lin here. I'm your security guard. Fen Lin interrupted Yi Shen with a smile. Fen Lin, I think I will feel embarrassed today. As Yi Shen spoke, he looked at several young men in the distance. Among them, Yi Kai stood there, his arm in a cast and his head wrapped in a bandage. Yi Shen didn't expect that the King family would also invite people from the rich Yi family. Yi Kai brags here and tells these young people about his fights with gangsters. Suddenly, he felt like someone was watching him, so he turned around and immediately noticed Fen Lin and Yi Shen. He walked over with a sneer, and when he saw this child, his head hurt. Chapter 127. Entering the rich family. Yi Kai didn't expect that he had asked his elder sister to capture Fen Lin yesterday, but he ran into an expert from the Wei family along the way. But the elder sister was even more powerful and killed the other party. However, she was also seriously injured, so she did not arrest Fen Lin. Walking with Yi Kai was Wei Baqi, who did not expect that Fen Lin could survive until now after offending Yi Kai, a prodigal son. Fen Lin. Is this a place you can come? Get out. Yi Kai pointed at Fen Lin and cursed angrily. Suddenly, all the businessmen who were chatting looked in the direction. Seeing this, Zhu Ruang prepared to approach, but Fen Lin gently shook her head. Haha, who was this guy? He actually offended Yi Kai, and he will have a hard time in the future. I'm not interested in this guy. I'm interested in the woman around him, who was so charming. Yes, I like this. A mature and charming woman. Many businessmen around him wanted to meet Yi Shen next to him more than Fen Lin. Boss Yi, do you have an invitation letter? Here are all the celebrities in Yonsei. You, the owner of a club that is about to close, should not be qualified to enter. Wei Baqi also followed. She was quite knowledgeable, and the Yi family had already planned to take care of their club. I heard there were almost no customers in your club these days. Kim Peng. Where is Kim Peng? Come here. Yi Kai shouted to the surroundings. What's wrong, Mr. Yi? In the distance, Kim Peng, dressed in a suit, walked over with a calm expression. As of today, the King family has completely entered the ranks of the rich. He was originally a little afraid of Yi Kai, but now he is not afraid at all. Let this kid out. Otherwise, you won't give me face. Yi Kai pointed at Fen Lin and shouted. Young Master Yi, today is a banquet for my King family. Since you are here, you are a guest, Kim Peng said unhurriedly. He was going to reject Yi Kai and give him a warning first. From now on, let him respect himself, but when he suddenly saw Fen Lin in front of him, he was shocked. Oh no. It's you. Yi Shen was speechless. How many people had Fen Lin provoked? Kim Peng. Do you know this kid? Yi Kai asked strangely. We met once and the relationship is not good, but the visitor is a guest and expelling him would make our King family stingy, Kim Peng said with his hands behind his hands calmly. In their eyes, Fen Lin was an insignificant person. This time, he mainly used Fen Lin to show his power to Yi Kai. As for Fen Lin, I will teach him a lesson later. Kim Peng. Why are you talking to Mr. Yi? Wei Baqi shouted harshly. I wouldn't miss this opportunity to flatter him. I'm talking to Yi Kai. How can you, a dog, interrupt? Kim Peng kicked Wei Baqi in the stomach and knocked him to the ground. Wei Baqi's face was furious. When it comes to business, the two families have almost the same financial resources. They used to be the younger brothers who followed Yikai, but they didn't expect that this kid would dare to hit him. Kim Pen. Why are your wings so hard? Were you trying to climb on my head? Yikai coldly looked at Kim Pen, generally asking him to do something, and immediately ran away. Today, in front of so many people, I didn't even give him a face. Kim Pen. Do you think you are invincible at home? Kneel down and apologize to Mr. Yi. Wang Baqi stood up from the ground, pointed at Kim Pen, and shouted coldly. At this moment, Fen Lin's cell phone vibrated, and he took it out and looked at it. It was a message from Yan Yuebai. Boss, I see you. The King family also has masters in the transformation realm. What should I do next? Sure enough, there is also a realm of transformation, Fen Lin thought to himself. No wonder King Pen suddenly changed his temperament. Apparently he was on his own side, but in reality it was to show that he was not afraid of Yikai. I want to tell you that from now on I will also be a young man from a wealthy family, so please speak politely. Fen Lin told Yan Yuebai to let her go back temporarily. The two people currently dead in the night were Fen Lin's hidden combat power. Not suitable for public display. After answering, Fen Lin also prepared to play the role of a younger brother like Wang Baqi. Because Yikai had his back to Fen Lin at the moment, Fen Lin kicked his butt. Yikai. How the hell are you talking to Mr. Qin? Yikai didn't pay attention to him at all and he fell to the ground with a plop. Because his arm was still wrapped in a bandage, he breathed in pain after falling like this. Everyone around him was stunned and looked at Fen Lin in disbelief. He dared to hit Yikai. Kim Pen also has a problem. Do you remember when he wasn't Yukai's younger brother? Kim Pen was also a little surprised, but he wanted Fen Lin to do it. Teach Yikai a lesson. He definitely wouldn't do this himself. Even if he became in a rich family, at best it would be the same as the Yi family. He had no intention of fighting with Yikai, so he only dared to hit Wang Baqi and did not dare to attack Yikai, but now that someone is taking action, it couldn't be better. Anyway, he didn't take action. Even if Yikai kills Fen Lin in the future, it will have nothing to do with him. You are looking for death. Wang Baqi pointed at Fen Lin and cursed, then hurriedly went to help Yikai. However, Fen Lin kicked Wang Baqi again and he simply punched Yikai. Yikai screamed in pain. Am I looking for death? With young Master King protecting me, I don't know who was looking for death. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and said coldly. Wang Baqi immediately stood up and helped Yikai up. It turned out that Fen Lin had found King Pen as his sponsor. But he was too naive. There were only 3 rich families in Yan City, and the Yi family was one of them. Fen Lin. You two are looking for death, just wait for me. Yikai was so angry that Fen Lin didn't care. His younger brother actually dared to be so presumptuous. Today's a happy day for my King family. Anyone who says the word death again will come out immediately. At this moment, a middle-aged man in a suit appeared in the distance. He had a Chinese character face and round glasses. Angry and self-defeating. Kim Wu. The head of the King family is also King Pen's father. Next to King Wu was an old man dressed in a robe. His eyes were deep and gave people a very gloomy feeling. Everyone, there are only 2 small things to do when inviting you here. Today. Let me talk about the first one first. Kim Wu cleared his throat slightly and looked round with a proud face. From today onwards, my King family will officially become a rich family in Yan City. What? A rich family? No way. Is the King family crazy? Don't you know that if you want to become a rich family, you need to have the legendary transformation realm? It's true. I also heard that there are only 3 people in Yan City. Only a rich family can have such a master, but I have never seen it before. Not only the businessmen looking around, but also Yikai. He also stared. Kim Pen, no wonder you are so crazy suddenly. Were you dreaming and haven't woken up? It's just a simple dream. Does the King family dare to call itself a rich family? Baqi didn't say anything. Kim Pen might be joking, but in front of so many Yan City businessmen, Kim Wu couldn't be joking. At this moment, the old man next to King Wu gently raised his hand and placed it on the table next to him. Click. The table collapsed in an instant and the ground shook violently. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. This end is really the legendary transformation realm. Like this. Kim Pen looked at Wang Baqi arrogantly. You must be careful in the future. Wang Baqi's legs trembled with fear. He had never dreamed of this. The King family has really become a rich family. Qin. Spare his life, Master Qin. He was so scared that he immediately knelt down. Having a transformation master was the only way to enter a rich family. He couldn't afford to mess with this kind of person. The face of Yikai was also extremely ugly. No wonder Kingpin was so crazy. Just as he was about to speak, Fen Lin kicked him again. Fen Lin said coldly, "Ye Kai. What are you doing still? Why don't you kneel and apologize to Master Qin?" Chapter 128. People who are clear do not say secret words. Kingpin crossed his arms and raised his head slightly, feeling that Fen Lin was right to flatter him. After all, he had offended Ye Kai, who was also a rich man, so it was natural for him to fawn over him. He couldn't help but look elsewhere. There was Zhu Ruoying, chatting with other businessmen. Remembering that Fen Lin was Zhu Ruoying's boyfriend, he definitely wouldn't dare to resist when Fen Lin was asked to hand over Zhu Ruoying to him privately. Kingpin and Zhu Ruoying were classmates in college. When he was in school, he had a crush on Zhu Ruoying, but she did not abandon him. Today is different from the past. The King family will become a rich family. He believes that Zhu Ruoying will change her mind. Have you forgotten? I am also the son of a wealthy family. Ye Kai roared angrily, pointing at Kingpin and scolding him. Don't be proud, you are still far away from our Yi family. Ye Kai, we can still be friends in the future. Kingpin didn't want to have too much trouble with the Yi family. His goal had been achieved. I believe that from now on, Ye Kai would not dare to be presumptuous in front of him. Ye Kai shouted coldly, "Who the hell wants to be your friend?" Bang. Fen Lin slapped Ye Kai. "Why are you talking to Mr. Qin? Do you Yi family dare to touch the King family? As long as the King family and the Wei family join forces, you can easily swallow. Get up." These words made everyone around him shocked. Almost everyone in the upper class of Yun City knew about the relationship between the Yi family and the Wei family. Now that the King family also has masters in the transformation realm, as long as they join forces with the Wei family, it will be easy to deal with the Yi family. Even King Wu in a distance nodded secretly, thinking before that he wanted to give the Yi family face. But if you think about it carefully, it is completely unnecessary. The Yi family and the Wei family are enemies. Not only that, I heard that Wei Kanyuan, the younger generation of the Wei family, had long been in contact with Zhamu of the Zhao family. It can be said that the Yi family has no friends. If the King family continues to side with the Wei family, the Yi family will surely perish. Today's a happy day for my King family. Kingpin, if your friend talks nonsense again, break his legs and throw him out. Qin Wu said with an indifferent expression. The corners of the other businessmen around him were also slightly raised. Many of them had long disliked Ye Kai. Qin Wu, the head of the family, spoke, showing that he no longer took the Yi family seriously. Ye Kai's face was extremely pale. Although he was a dandy, he was not a fool. He believed that if he continued to speak, the other party would definitely dare to take action. He looked at Wei Baqi coldly. "Let's go." After saying that, he coldly looked at Kingpin and Fen Lin. Sooner or later, they would die. "What are you doing standing? Come on." Ye Kai frowned and shouted when he found that Wei Baqi was still kneeling on the ground and not getting up. "Ye Kai, who do you think you are? I can't get up before Master King lets me get up." Just now, Wei Baqi thought for a long time that the Yi family was destined to die. What's more, Wei Baqi longed for Ye Kai's death. If I followed him at this time, wouldn't I be going against the King family? Ha ha ha. Kingpin laughed out loud after hearing this. Is this the influence of a rich man? He finally understood why so many people were obsessed with power. It feels so good. Old Wang, get up. Our relationship is already good. Kingpin smiled and helped Wei Baqi up. Ye Kai gasped violently and his face was burning, like an invisible slap that kept slapping him. He rolled up his sleeves and left, snorting coldly. The Yi family is not dead yet. The farce is over. Qin Wu looked round with a smile on the high platform. I just mentioned two small things. The first is that we are walking to enter a rich family. The second thing I need is your support. Everyone below knows that this is the only way to enter a rich family. When your fist gets bigger, you will naturally start making money. Haha. Mr. Qin is very polite. Our two families have been cooperating for many years. If you need help, I appreciate it. It is our group's honor to do business with a rich family like the King family. Many people below began to serve them, and this is also an opportunity to bet on the future of the King family. The banquet begins. Everyone started to sit down. A mature woman like Yi Shen is even more dazzling than Zhu Ruoying when facing an old man. After a while, several bosses came over and introduced themselves. Fen Lin sat at the round table in the corner, eating a plate of fruits, pretending to play with his mobile phone, and finally took a photo of the old man. Then passed it to Lanny and asked him to investigate. Not long after, Kingpin came with Wei Baqi. Compared to Fen Lin, who had no background, Wei Baqi was much more important. His family's wealth is comparable to that of the current King family. As long as his family gives into profits, the King family can absorb the wealth of the Wang family and expand rapidly. Fen Lin, you performed well today. Kim Pen sat down and said with a smile. Fen Lin also laughed. He was deliberately trying to attract hate. It was difficult to say, "Young Master Qin, you're too polite. This is Wang Baki. I know you're misunderstanding. It's because of Zhu Rong, please give it. Give me some face. Forget this matter." Kim Pen waved his hand domineeringly. Wang Baki nodded flutteringly. He had just learned that Kim Pen had already fallen in love with Zhu Rong. He must have chosen to give in. Kim Pen took Zhu Rong away from Fen Lin, which was considered revenge. "Then I will give Mr. Kim some face." Fen Lin smiled calmly. Kim Pen sneered in his heart, "Who do you think you are? Do I need you to give me face?" However, Fen Lin is still useful now and will definitely not say it. "Fen Lin, please don't tell secrets. I have fallen in love with your girlfriend." Kim Pen held the wine glass and whispered in Fen Lin's ear, then looked at Zhu Rong in the distance. The corners of Fen Lin's mouth curled up slightly. He had already guessed it. "Master Qin, Zhu Rong is a person, not an object. It's useless for you to tell me this." Fen Lin shrugged helplessly. "How presumptuous. It's your honor that Mr. Kim fell in love with your wife." "Shut up." Kim Pen looked at Wang Baki. He and Zhu Rong were classmates, so of course they knew each other's temperament. The tougher you are against Zhu Rong, the more fiercely she will resist. "What I want you to do is very simple. Break up with her and tell him that you like other women." Kim Pen showed a slight smile. "I will give you a sum of money once I am done." "How much money will I give you?" "You give me." Fen Lin asked with a smile. "Don't give up this amount of money." Wang Baki pointed at Fen Lin and shouted coldly, "You bastard. How dare you ask Master Qin for money? It's your honor to help Master Qin." "Fuck you, Grandma. I'm talking to Master Qin. Where can you be? Were you talking?" Fen Lin kicked Wang Baki. Punch. Wang Baki's chair tilted and fell to the ground. "You." Wang Baki stood up. He stood up from the ground, his body trembling with anger. "Old Wang, you deserve to be taught a lesson by Fen Lin. We're talking, so shut up." Kim Pen shook his head slightly at Wang Baki, then looked at Fen Lin and raised a finger. 1 million. PFFT. "Mr. Qin, I will tell you the truth about our relationship. Where do you send it, beggars?" Fen Lin inserted a piece of watermelon with a chopstick, stuffed it into his mouth and continued. "Zhu Rong said before. When we get married, she will give me a company with a market value of more than 100 million. Kim Pen narrowed his eyes and said, "Fen Lin, you're preparing to open your mouth. Young Master Qin, think about it carefully. The Zhu family only has one daughter, Zhu Rong. I married her and then Zhu Rong. Isn't this house mine? I have money and such a beautiful wife, so why would you give me 1 million to give? Is it up?" Fen Lin shook his head with a smile. He knew that if it weren't for Zhu Rong, Kim Pen would have turned against him a long time ago. You can only fool him once in this matter and you can ask for as many as you can. Chapter 129 80 million drama. Kim Pen picked up the glass of red wine, took a sip, and said calmly, "Fen Lin, is my face worthless?" "Of course I do. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't agree at all." Fen Lin ate another piece of mango, chuckled. "Just tell me the number." Kim Pen said expressionlessly. "Tell me a good number." 80 million, Fen Lin said calmly. When the 80 million arrived, I immediately told Zhu Rong that I wanted to break up with her and scolded her a few more times. I wanted. Kim Pen held his chin, his eyes gradually became cold. Even he couldn't get 80 million pocket money. "Just take money from the company." Fen Lin shook his head with a smile and said calmly, "This has already given Mr. Qin a lot of face. To be honest, I really don't want to break up with a wife as stunning as her. Before today's party, I will transfer it to your bank card." Kim Pen nodded with a smile. "Young Master Qin is great." Fen Lin smiled and took his hands. "Wait, I'll get the money." After Kim Pen finished speaking, he took Wang Baki and left. Coming very far, Wang Baki asked in a low voice, "Master Qin, are you really going to give it to him?" "Old Wang, I just said that Fen Lin is only of this use. When I get Zhu Rong, this kid will follow you. You take care of it." Kim Pen sneered. Zhu Rong was his original dream. Almost every time he looked for a woman to play with, he thought of her Zhu Rong. This is the perseverance of men. In his dreams, he imagined that one day, Zhu Rong, who had always been aloof, would be waiting for him. "Hey, Mr. Qin, I'll give you this 80 million. Wang Baki looked at Fen Lin pitifully, and because he wanted to flatter him, he had to pay a price. "Okay. Old Wang, Yi and I are different. When the King family grows up, I will never forget you. Kim Peng smiled and patted Wang Baqi on the shoulder. Wang Baqi took another 80 million from his company and directly transferred it to Kim Peng's bank card. Good brother. Kim Peng smiled at Wang Baqi, then went to Fen Lin and transferred the 80 million to Fen Lin's bank card. Fen Lin checked and reassured Kim Peng. Fen Lin, you must say goodbye to my house, and when you say goodbye, you must stay on the phone with me. I don't want you to cheat. Kim Peng drank the red wine in his glass in one gulp. It seems that Mr. Kim still doesn't understand me. I always mean what I say. Although Fen Lin said this, he still exchanged contact information with him. The banquet is finally over. Zhu Ruang and Yi Shen won a lot this time. Compared to Yi Shen, who caters to both men and women, most of the businessmen Zhu Ruang befriended were women. Seeing that people began to disperse, Fen Lin and others also walked out one after another. Fen Lin and Kim Peng made a call, and after connecting, he put the phone on his body. Kim Peng took Wang Baqi to a Mercedes-Benz outside and looked outside through the privacy glass. Zhu Ruang. Wait a minute. Fen Lin saw that everyone was almost gone and grabbed Zhu Ruang's arm. In the Mercedes-Benz, Kim Peng could hear clearly on his cell phone. What's happening? Zhu Ruang turned around strangely. Fen Lin said expressionlessly. You said we have been together for so long, let's sleep together tonight. Zhu Ruang shouted coldly. You're dreaming. Hearing this, Kim Peng's expression was filled with ecstasy. It turned out that the two of them were still together and did not reach the last step. Very cool. No one likes second-hand goods, but Kim Peng can tolerate Zhu Ruang's appearance. Now that he knows that Zhu Ruang still is the first time, Kim Peng feels that he has earned it. Fen Lin said coldly, then finish it. I've had enough of you. We've been in love for 2 years, right? Won't you let me touch you? 2 years. Zhu Ruang frowned, feeling that things were not that simple. They knew each other not long ago, not to mention that what Fen Lin said about the breakup was wrong. According to him, he should have said divorce. Did you betray me and fall in love with another woman? Zhu Ruang immediately kicked Fen Lin. Wasn't he going to act? I'll just cooperate. That's right. No matter how beautiful you are, I can only look at you. What's the use? Get lost. Break up. Fen Lin turned around and walked towards Yi Shen in the distance. Divide. Shameless. Zhu Ruang chased after Fen Lin and kicked his butt several times. Now was the chance for revenge, and Fen Lin did not dare to fight back anyway. Get lost. I don't want to see you again. Fen Lin took Yi Shen and left here. Shameless. I misjudged you. Zhu Ruang roared and then walked away. In the Mercedes-Benz, Kim Peng hung up the phone with satisfaction and finally found a way to get the goddess he dreamed of. Young Master Qin, will you join forces to deceive him? I have been deceived before, Wang Baqi said from the side. You don't know Zhu Ruang. She is a very serious person. Once she makes up her mind, she won't change it. Kim Peng did not believe that a cold-blooded person like Zhu Ruang would deliberately deceive himself for Fen Lin. A pretty boy. The Qin family's affairs spread like wildfire. Within a few hours, the news spread throughout the upper reaches of Yun City. The other 3 wealthy families will know about it immediately. The most nervous among them is the Yi family. After Yi Kai returned home, he told Yi Tao about the feud between him and Kim Peng. Yi Tao's expression suddenly changed. He had to protect himself against this matter. The Qin family could actually cooperate with the Wei family and jointly cannibalize the Yi family. Second uncle, Grandpa asked you to go there alone. Yi Yan's voice came from outside. Yi Tao pointed at Yi Kai and said coldly, you may have ruined something big. After saying that, he turned and left. Yi Kai also felt a little scared. The Yi family hasn't closed yet, and those people dared to laugh at him. If at some point, the Yi family really splits between the Qin family and the Wei family, and he becomes poor, unimaginable things await him. The main peak of Yejia Mountain. Yi Zhan stood with his hands behind his back, dressed in a black tang suit, with silver hair and a white beard. He is the head of the Yi family. Next to Yi Zhan is his eldest son, Yi Ming. Yi Ming and Yi Tao have different elegant temperaments. He looks more rugged, like a muscular man. Grandpa. Second uncle is here, Yi Yan called before arriving. Dad. Yi Tao walked over and nodded gently. Yun City is going to be in chaos. The Qin family is the first to break the balance. Our Yi family is in an unfavorable situation. What should we do? Yi Zhan turned around and looked at the 3 people in front of him. Dad. It's time to call my son again. Yi Ming said with a smile. No. It's not time yet. Yi Zhan stared at Yi Tao. What do you have in mind? Dad, I can't think about it now. Yi Tao shook his head. Trash. You have been smarter than your brother since you were a child. Since you married Lin Feng, has she lowered your IQ? Look at the trash son you gave birth to. Yi Zhan shouted coldly, his voice like thunder, which made Yu Tao's ears ring. Yi Men couldn't help but hold his head high. His son and daughter were all geniuses. I heard that Yi Shen is back. Yi Zhan exhaled and asked calmly. Grandpa. She opened a club in the Eastern District, Yi An said immediately. Yi Shen is a personality like his mother. He has no support. He will never come to Yan City. Compared with the cooperation between the Wei family and the King family, I am more afraid of him hiding in the dark. Yi Zhan said sharply. Check. Go to Jiang City to check. Fan Lin sent Yi Shen back and immediately asked Sakam to dress up as a woman. He himself also asked Jian Yabai to put on makeup. There's a good chance it's true this time. Fan Lin took out a dark metal scalpel at the front of his belt. If there was a fight, many people would die. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 130-72 Earth Demons. Fan Lin borrowed an ordinary Volkswagen car from Yi Shen and headed to King's house. Fan Lin changed into a suit and wore the same outfit as last time. He turned into a middle-aged man with a big beard. As for Sakam Jin, he was still wearing domineering smoky makeup and his face looked perfect and incomparable. He took a pair of clean white gloves from his pocket and put them on. Fourth. Don't get excited. If you can't ask questions, kill them again. Fan Lin smiled awkwardly. I am measured. Sakam nodded calmly. Kim family. Still in a state of joy. As the saying goes, when a person achieves enlightenment, chickens and dogs ascend to heaven. Even the servants of the King family feel proud. Their status is different. Now they are servants of a wealthy family. Fan Lin parked the car in the parking space and opened the door for Sakam Jin respectfully. The two walked to King's house together. You two, you're late. The King family's banquet is over, the security guard at the door said with a proud expression on his face. Fan Lin didn't talk nonsense to them, he waved his hand gently, and the security guard blocking the front flew away instantly. Sir, please. Fan Lin bowed respectfully. Sakam Jin walked forward expressionlessly. Fan Lin looked at the security guard who was about to take action and grabbed the iron railing with one hand. With a slight twist, rotate the handrail. When everyone who was about to act saw this, they were so scared that they did not dare to breathe. Who are you? At this moment, Kim Pen from a distance walked over and shouted. When he saw Sakam Jin's face, he was stunned. In his mind, apart from the word amazing, he couldn't think of anything else. This person is so beautiful. Sakam Jin ignored him and walked forward. I'm asking you a question. Kim Pen frowned. He was now the son of a wealthy family. Boom. Fan Lin kicked him in the stomach. Kim Pen wiped blood on the spot and fell to the ground, unconscious. Sakam Jin continued to walk forward and two people appeared in the distance. It was King Wu and the cold old man in the transformation realm. Who are you? Kim Wu roared when he saw his son fall to the ground. Why don't you kneel when you see Master Si Jin? Fan Lin lowered his voice and walked out from behind. Who do you think you are? Kim Wu the legendary transformation realm did not take the two people in front of him seriously. Sudden. Kim Wu discovered that Fan Lin in front had disappeared. Boom. Before he could react, his body shook violently and his knees hit the ground. Fan Lin didn't know when he appeared behind the two of them, grabbed the old man by the back of his neck and pushed him to the ground. His head crashed into the cracks of the stone path below. Kim Wu trembled inwardly, feeling as if he was dreaming. What's going on here? Mr. Quickun in front of me is in a living state of transformation. In fact, they pushed him to the ground like a dog. Quickwood's heart also set off huge waves, and he was in the middle of his transformation. No, it should be in the late stage of transformation, or even the peak of transformation. As for the security guards in the distance, they couldn't believe it was true. Could it be that this is the level of a rich family? Enough is enough, business matters, Sakam Jin said emotionlessly. Yes, Sir. Fan Lin let go of Quickwood's neck and approached Sakam Jin. Sakam Jin took out his mobile phone and handed it to Fan Lin. Fan Lin took it with both hands, walked to Quickwood, opened the video, and the video of the same month appeared. Quickwood's face changed drastically when he saw this person. He heard that the scene appeared again a few days ago, but he didn't expect it to be true. It seems I don't need to introduce myself. Fan Lin put away his phone. Yes, sir. Quick Woon lowered his head respectfully, then looked at King Wu and said sternly, "Remove everyone from our sight." "Okay, sir." King Wu was a little confused, but he was even more excited. Does this mean that there's a greater force behind Quick Woon? In this case, wouldn't it be possible to unify Yin City? The Yi family, Wei family, and Zhao family are trash. The King family wants to become a rich family in Jiangbai, not all of China. He immediately ordered everyone around him to leave, and King Pen, who was lying on the ground, was also carried away. There are only 3 people left here. You also know the Holy Lady's order. I need to find someone. Sikam Jin walked over with the calm expression, "From now on, obey my order." "This, Lord, isn't it good?" "Are you?" "A big shot from the first sect, his subordinate is a dog from the second sect. A disobedient dog will die." Quick Woon shook his head and fell to the ground. The first sect, the second sect, Fen Lin thought to himself, that is, Taoju was a member of the first sect. I remember I said earlier in the same month that Yunai seemed to be from the second sect. "I don't like being rejected by others," Sikam Jin said coldly. After Fen Lin heard this, he immediately lowered his head and said, "Sir, I will kill you." Quick Woon was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat, but he still lay motionless on the ground. I knew he was working for the first sect. It's not that easy to die. "Tell me, what will happen to you if I hand you over to the Holy Lady?" Sikam Jin said calmly. "Sir, for the sake of my old dog, who has dedicated himself to Jiao, please forgive me." Quick Woon was so scared that he bowed down desperately. If it fell into the hands of the saint, it would be worse than death. "I heard that Yun City has been a little lively recently. Is there anything good happening in your branch?" Sikam asked calmly. He told this to Fen Lin the same month, and Fen Lin would naturally share it with Sikam Jin. "Yes, the hands and eyes of the saint can reach the sky. The 18 evil spirits of our second sector coming to Yun City. I don't know what they will do specifically," Quick Woon explained respectfully. "Anyway, the saint already knew the information and I told him." "That's fun too." Disha. When Fen Lin heard this, he clenched his fists until they turned white and a terrifying killing intent appeared on his body. In the land of Jiao, there are 72 earth evil spirits, all of which are their top combat powers. Liu died in Disha's hands. There are 9 sects and on an average there are only Dishas in a sect. Of course, those in front are naturally more powerful. I heard that the top 20 Disha are dominated by the first and second sect. Simply put, the 18 earth demons, in the entire Jia land, except for the heads of the 9 major sects, their combat power ranks 18th. It can be said that they are the group of people at the top of the pyramid. Sikam asked calmly, "When will he come?" "I don't know, it should be within half a month," Quick Woon replied. Sikam looked closely at Fen Lin and didn't know what to ask anymore. Fen Lin hesitated for a moment. This person could not be killed for the moment. He smiled and asked, "Where is your branch?" Quick Woon respectfully explained, "Sir, 2 years ago, all branches of our second sect, we already met online." Fen Lin and Sikam Jin looked at each other. It must be Liu. His hacking skills are top-notch in the world and he used the contact information he used when he died on the night of his death in the land of Jiao. Meeting online can ensure you get picked up in one go. Thinking of this, Fen Lin's throat moved and asked with a smile, "Do you know Liu?" Quick Woon shook his head. "You should be talking about an adult from the Liu family of the second sect. None of my subordinates are of that kind. Level. Get up. If Earth Evil comes, let me know and leave your contact information." Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and said calmly, "This is the only way you can survive." "Yes." Quick Woon, "Okay, anyway, Shiva Disha's temper will shock the entire city as soon as she appears, and sooner or later they will know about it." After everything was over, Fen Lin and Sikam Jin left together. After the two got into the car together, Sikam Jin asked, "What should I do?" He is a powerful person and doing something in the city can easily cause panic. Fen Lin sighed. "There is no other way, please invite the second master." Chapter 131 Protein Supplementation. Sikam Jin nodded. It was a solution. Fen Lin first returned to the Narcissus Club with Sikam Jin and they removed their makeup in Sikam Jin's room. "Lao Qi, Lao Si and I are going to pick up the second master. Don't go out during this period. Stay here to protect Yishin's safety." Fen Lin took off his mask and said, "Who did you meet? Do you want the second master to take action?" Yan Yubai asked puzzledly from the side. "Nip it in the bud." Fen Lin smiled and shook his head, taking off his suit and putting on his normal casual clothes. "By the way, I called Zhu Ruang and told him that I would be gone for a day or two." Zhu Ruang asked what happened today and Fen Lin told the whole story. However, the 80 million was replaced with 60 million, and at Zhu Ruan's request, he transferred the 60 million. Yan Yubai watched Fen Lin hang up the phone and asked with a smile, "Boss, how are you going to get there?" "Take a plane, driving is too slow." Fen Lin went to the bathroom to wash his face and walked around. He came out and said. Sikong Jin did the same and washed his face to remove all the makeup. When Fen Lin came out, he also explained to Yi Xin. After that, Yi Xin sent someone to take Fen Lin and Sikong Jin to the airport. Arriving at the airport at exactly 2:30 in the afternoon, Fen Lin counted the time and could return almost tomorrow. The second master lives in a rural area in the east of Guangdong province, and the second master has guided several other people in the dark night, especially Fen Lin. When his mother disappeared, he was only 6 or 7 years old. His father searched for his mother's whereabouts alone, so he threw Fen Lin into the second master's village. While waiting for the plane, Fen Lin first asked Sikong Jin to call the second master. Sikong Jin dialed the number and waited for a long time before saying, "No one answered. Haha, after all, he is an old man." Fen Lin couldn't help but laugh. The two bought a first-class ticket. Anyway, Fen Lin still had 20 million in his hand. It wasn't his own money, so he didn't feel bad about using it. The two were sitting together, and after sitting down, Sikong Jin took off his mask. Fen Lin looked at other seats. There were only 2 in the first-class cabin. But that is normal, it is not a holiday nor is it a Sunday. At this moment, several young men and women walked in from the first-class cabin, all dressed in famous brands. Several people were chatting and laughing as they searched for his location, but one man was the first to notice Sikong Jin here. With her pigtails up, her eyes and face shape are perfect. The head of the plane with earrings walked over with a smile. "Beauty, are you also going to East Guangdong?" Sikong Jin didn't even look at the other person, let alone answer him. The remaining people also looked on, both men and women, and they were all amazed by Sikong Jin's appearance. "Beauty, I have company in Eastern Guangdong and I am looking for advertising actors. I think you are very suitable. Can you accompany me to take a look?" The pilot invited you again. He believed that no woman could resist him. This temptation. The remaining people also looked here with half-smiling faces, as young Master Chen was about to start again. "I don't know how many women I've played with just using this trick. No way, most women choose men based on money, even if they are known scumbags. As long as they want money, they will never lack girlfriends." Sikong Jin remained impassive, leaned back, closed his eyes gently, and said one word. "Get out." Fen Lin immediately pointed to the nose of the plane, ready to save it, but Sikong Jin was already on the verge of anger. "Brother, those who fly first class usually don't lack money. Since everyone is rich, girls should choose the prettiest ones," Fen Lin said, smiling. "Look at yourself in the mirror." "Baby, what are you doing?" "You mean? Are you calling me ugly?" Chen Tang asked, pointing at Fen Lin. Fen Lin shook his head. "No, it's just that you are much uglier compared to me." "You, gentlemen, the plane is about to take off. For your safety, please sit in your seats." A uniformed stewardess approached from a distance and looked at a few people with a smile. Chen Tang looked coldly at Fen Lin and leaned back in his seat. Fen Lin crossed his legs with a smile and he closed his eyes. "These are our distinguished guests. If you need help, please let me know at any time." After the stewardess finished speaking, she left here. "Miss, remember to come after the plane takes off. I'm a little hungry and want to eat." Chen Tang turned around and shouted at the stewardess back. "Ha ha ha. Mr. Chen, don't you have back pain? Can't he even walk when he sees a beautiful woman? Young Master Feng has a lot of nutrients. It won't be a problem if you consume them for a few more years." Some people next to him started laughing. After a while, the plane took off smoothly. After everything calmed down, the stewardess from before came over. She stood in front of Chen Tang with a smile. "Excuse me, sir, what do you need?" Chen Tang said with a smile. "I'm a little thirsty and want grandma." Everyone around left. The expression of the stewardess, but as a stewardess, she was still smiling. Fen Lin next to him opened his eyes and looked at the stewardess. She has an oval face and looks very beautiful. Of course, someone who can become a stewardess will definitely have a good one. Appearance. Beauty, I'm just kidding. I wanted to ask that lady for some milk to add more protein. Chen Tang looked at Sikong Jin and pursed his lips. "With that figure, what are you pretending to be?" "I really believe it. I'm attracted to you. The beautiful city." Fen Lin laughed, but Sikong Jin looked at him coldly and immediately put away his smile and pretended to look at the scenery outside the window. "I'm sorry, sir, I have no right. I'm just serving the customer." The stewardess frowned slightly and tried to maintain a smile. In this industry, you will always find people with such poor quality. Certainly. Chen Tang smiled obscenely. I want some special services. Sir. Please respect yourself. The stewardess couldn't help it anymore and her voice was a little louder. You, a waiter, dare to attack me. Do you know who I am? Believe it or not, I will report you. Chen Tang, who was pretending to be a gentleman just to impress Sikam Jin, growled. Anyway, the other party doesn't have a good opinion of me, so why bother pretending? Shut up, you're bothering me. Sikam Jin opened his eyes and said expressionlessly to Chen Tang. His original voice was very neutral and you couldn't tell if he was a man or a woman without looking at his face, so it didn't attract many people's attention. Haha, you really consider yourself a character, so I just talk, what's wrong? Chen Tang left. Sikam Jin stood up and walked towards him, slapped Chen Tang. Shut up, don't let me say it a third time. Bitch. Do you dare to hit me? Chen Tang roared and jumped. From your seat, get up. Boom. Sikam Jin narrowed his eyes slightly but made no movement. Chen Tang rolled his eyes and lay down. After that, he returned to his seat and closed his eyes to rest. Haha, such a young boy still plays porcelain. Fen Lin laughed from the side. He naturally knew that Sikam Jin had surprised him with key just now. Master Chen. Master Chen. Chen Tang's companions were all confused. What's going on here? They put it in front of Chen Tang's nose and were relieved when they found that it was still breathing. Maybe he was too tired last night and fell asleep. Yes, he didn't sleep all night last night, several people said secretly. The stewardess looked deeply at Sikam Jin. This woman was so beautiful that she was almost a nymphomaniac. Make sure you make friends when you get off the plane. Chapter 132 Second Master Men Changshen. 2 hours later, the plane landed safely. The first class is special access. Before getting off the plane, Fen Lin took out a silver needle from his belt and quickly pierced Chen Tang's neck. He then left with Sikam Jin. The two had not walked a few steps when the stewardess from before had followed them. He stood in front of Sikam Jin and said with a smile, Beautiful sister, thank you for helping me now. Can we add a WeChat message? Fen Lin couldn't help but laugh again. This time it was really strange. When I usually do homework with my fourth child, all the people I chat with are men. This is the first time I have encountered a woman chatting with me. Sikam Jin's expression did not change at all. He took out an ID card from his pocket and showed it to her. The stewardess in front of him. Sikam Jin and man. The stewardess took a few steps back in shock. And what a good thing. Was. I think that girl is very nice. Fen Lin put his hands in his pants pockets and followed Sikam Jin with a smile. Then you marry her. Sikam Jin rolled his eyes and took it. I don't think you are too young. Fen Lin said with a smile. The two took a taxi to the passenger terminal and then took a bus to the field where the second master lived. During this period, Fen Lin called the second master several more times, but no one answered. Fen Lin knew where the second master was without thinking. When they arrived at the village where the second master lived, Fen Lin did not go to his house, but instead took Sikam Jin to the river outside the village. Sure enough, in the distance, a man in a wheelchair was fishing. He is about 60 years old, with a Chinese-shaped face, a big bang, and deep wrinkles at the corners of his mouth. Wearing a white shirt and black pants, he gives the impression of an ordinary retired old man. What people noticed was that one right leg was missing and the pants on his right leg were tied in a knot. Second master, how many times have I told you to bring your mobile phone when you go out, but I don't remember. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked over with a smile. Damn. You scared away all my fish. Men Changshen looked at Fen Lin and cursed angrily. Come on, I'll take you to a restaurant to eat hot pot. Fen Lin sat on the stone next to him with a bright smile. When his mother disappeared, he was too young to remember her as a relative. In his heart, he only has two seniors, one is Fenken and the other is Men Changshen. Sikam Jin smiled imperceptibly, then picked up a stone and threw it into the river. Boom. Suddenly, the river water splashed with a lot of water and several fish were dragged to the shore, twisting their bodies. Shit. This young man, shit. Men Changshen lowered the bucket hanging next to the wheelchair and placed it on the ground. 3 buckets are enough. Put them inside. I will do this kind of work. Fen Lin carried the bucket, threw in 3 fish, and hung them next to Men Changshen's wheelchair. He put the fishing rod away, put it in the bag behind the wheelchair, and pushed the chair back. Second master, how have you been these past few years? Fen Lin pushed the wheelchair back and asked with a smile. Anyway, I live a more comfortable life than you. I have nothing to do but go fishing and play chess with the village elders. It's quite fun. Men Changshen took out the cigarettes from his waist and took out the round box filled with grated tobacco from his pocket. He pinched some dry tobacco and put it in, lit it with a lighter and took a few puffs. Fenlin smiled and said, I came here this time to ask you to come out. Men Cheng shook his head. What a pity, I am old and now it is your young people's world. You promised me. So, you won't retire until you go bald, you still have a lot of hair. Fenlin looked at the half-white hair and said with a smile. Hey. Lately I always feel inadequate and can't do high-intensity work, Men Cheng sighed. Sikam Jin explained from the side. Second master, the boss is not doing anything with the country now. Yes, I have also retired. I only have two things on my mind right now. The first is naturally to help me find his wife. This kind of thing is very useful. Not even the second master. Fenlin stopped, looked at the setting sun at dusk, and continued. Second, eradicate Jialan and kill Yunan. Men Cheng took out the ash from the cigarette and took out the grated tobacco. Zigu said, Oh, I thought you two were a couple and okay, I agree haha. I'll buy you a drink. Fenlin pushed his wheelchair again and headed to the village hotel. Old man, is he a relative here? At the edge of the street, several old men gathered to play chess. When they saw Men Cheng, one of them, a bald man, saluted. My grandson will take me to live in the city for a while and enjoy happiness. Men Cheng smiled and greeted several people. Under the leadership of Men Cheng, they arrived at the only restaurant in the village. There are no picturesque places in such a small place. It is said to be a restaurant, but in reality it is just a small door on the side of the main door. You can usually turn off the fire and cook when there are guests. The three of them ate well here and Fenlin pushed Men Cheng home. A very ordinary brick house with 2 rooms in total. Fenlin lived in this small side house back then. Seeing that this place was exactly the same as before, Fenlin also felt a little fond of the things he saw. Men Cheng turned the wheelchair alone, picked up the wooden crutch leaning against the wall, popped it under his right armpit, and stood up unsteadily. Boy, get the crutches out from under my bed, Men Cheng shouted at Fenlin. Okay. Fenlin ran to the bedroom and took out a long box from under the bed. Inside was a dark metal crutch. He walked out holding the crutch and handed it to Men Cheng with a smile. Oh, I haven't used it for several years. Men Cheng took the metal crutch, supported his body, and walked slowly across the yard. Second master, let's go out tomorrow morning and sleep at your house for one night today. Fenlin opened the side of the house and arranged the quilt and other things. He and Sikam Jin were making do here today. Cloud City. Zurwan came home after work. I was very tired today, but it was all worth it. He met several businesswomen. Several of them have more assets than the Zhu family, which can be considered as expanding their circle of friends, and there will always be opportunities for cooperation in the future. She drove to the villa area and found a Land Rover following her. Finally, the 2 cars parked in front of Zurwan's villa. Zurwan had just gotten out of the car, and Kingpen also got out of the Land Rover behind. Xiaoyun. What a coincidence, I met you here. Kingpen walked over with a smile, and then looked towards the villa. So you live here. Zurwan had already heard from Fenlin today. Kingpen gave her 60 million and asked her to break up with him. Zurwan asked expressionlessly, What's wrong with you? Yes. Today I saw Fenlin and another woman shopping very closely, so I went to scold him. He said he had been with you. We broke up. Kingpen looked serious. Now Fenlin is no use value. Yes, he said he broke up with me today. Zurwan nodded slightly. Kingpen's face was filled with joy before he could speak. Zurwan added, But I didn't agree. When he gets tired of playing outside and gets tired, I will chase him. Kingpen looked at him in disbelief, thinking that he heard wrong. Is this still the Zurwan I know? Isn't this the exclusive line for spare tires? Xiaoyun. Are you crazy? What's the use of that kind of man? Is he worth it? Kingpen clenched his fists in anger. Why are you wasting yourself? There are so many good men. No. The only good man is Fenlin. 1. Zurwan looked at Kingpen expressionlessly. Chapter 133 Who is he? Zurwan is a typical prejudiced person. As long as you start to think that you are not good, we will never meet again in the future. It's definitely not like a scumbag who deliberately catches a group of spare tires who like him and enjoys the feeling of being wanted. In Zurwan's eyes, Kingpen is someone who cannot be interacted with. Xiaoying. Tell me, in what way am I not better than that Fenlin boy? Kingpen felt anger rising to his head. Our king family has become a rich family. Wouldn't it be bad for you? Follow me. No. You know it too. You are a rich man. Wouldn't it be wrong to pursue other women? It's impossible for us. Zhuoying flatly refused, turned around and walked back to her villa. Stop. Zhuoying. I'm telling you, I'm really attracted to you. If you don't follow me, I will ruin your Zhu family. Kim Pen grabbed Zhuoying's arm and pulled her into his arms. Let me go. Zhuoying roared. Hey. Just hold on. I am now the son of a wealthy family. Who dares to stop me? Kim Pen grabbed Zhuoying's shoulders with both hands and prepared to kiss her. Boom. Zhuoying raised her knee and hit Kim Pen's little brother, and hit Kim Pen's neck with a backhand elbow. Kim Pen fell to the ground on the spot, covering his brother and crying. Zhuoying was also surprised by his attack. After Fen Lin's training, he did not expect to take down a grown man so easily. You are looking for death. You are shameless. Kim Pen cursed angrily. He covered his brother and stood up, saying coldly, Wait, you will regret it. After that, he left. Zhuoying snorted coldly. She had experienced a lot and would return to Junk City at the worst possible time. However, he still has some cards in his hand. The first is Zhamu. After meeting this woman, she has a sense of justice and can become friends with her. I think she will definitely help with this kind of thing. In addition to Zhamu, there is also Yishin, who is the wealth of the previous Song family and should be able to help. Suddenly, Zhuoying frowned. Of the grandmother. How come all my cards are Fen Lin's fiancé? Early the next morning, Fen Lin patted Sakam Jin next to him and stood up first. After washing his face in front of the faucet in the courtyard, Sakam Jin also came out in a daze. Not long after, Men Chengsheng also stood up on crutches. Second master, please leave the wheelchair at home. I will buy you another one when I go to Yun City, Fen Lin said. Whether you take a bus or a plane, it is not convenient to sit in a wheelchair. Okay, Men Chengsheng nodded and closed all the doors and windows in the house. Before leaving, he looked back at his hometown, shook his head slightly, and sighed. I may never return to this life. Second master, don't talk nonsense. You can come back whenever you want, but I still hope we can come back in the future. Life together. Fen Lin put his arm around Men Chengsheng's shoulders. Wow, I helped you this time and you have to promise me something in the future. Men Chengsheng looked deeply at Fen Lin. Fen Lin smiled, are you kidding me? We can say a word, why bother? No. This matter is special. You must agree in person. Men Chengsheng's expression was very serious. Okay. I promise, is it okay? Fen Lin said helplessly. Let's go. Men Chengsheng staggered forward with crutches. The black metal crutch intertwined with the ground, producing a dull sound, like the sound of a heartbeat. That beats 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Fen Lin Shi's most powerful trio arrived in Yun City. All in all, the only thing left is Lao Yu, and they will all be together by the end of the night. He had asked someone to pick them up at the airport. This time it was Bai Jin who came to pick them up. Men Chengsheng looked at him and exclaimed, damn. This young man is so tall. Haha. Bai Jin showed a simple and honest expression and took the initiative to help Men Chengsheng. Fen Lin was sitting in the passenger seat and asked with a smile, have you bought the chair wheels? I bought it. It's on the first floor of our club. Bai Jin nodded and led a few people to the Narcissus Club. As always, there are no customers here. Fen Lin and Sakam Jin separated from Men Chengsheng and the three of them had just entered the club. A figure flew over and slammed into Men Chengsheng's body. Second master. Yan Bai hugged him excitedly. Fuck. Men Chengsheng's body leaned back slightly. Kia too, you knocked me down and I couldn't get up. Hey, isn't it exciting? Yan Bai hurriedly said. He walked to the side and pushed. A black wheelchair approached. Second master, please sit down. I bought a bag especially for you. He picked up Men Chengsheng's crutches, cleverly folded them from the middle, and stuffed them into the back of the wheelchair. Yishin, who was in the distance, continued to watch all this with a smile. Many times he envied this kind of family relationship. He walked over with a smile, his face was very respectful. Hello, old man, I am Yishin, and I am currently working with Mr. Fen Lin for a living. Young man, you are so beautiful. Men Chengsheng opened his mouth in surprise. Where Yishin couldn't help but look at Fen Lin, as if to demonstrate his appearance. This is my second master, Men Chengsheng. He will live here from now on. Let someone prepare a room, Fen Lin said to Yishin with a smile. Yishin nodded and immediately ordered someone. Yan Bai pushed the wheelchair himself, and Sakam Jin did the same. Mr. Fen Lin, Zhuoying's company had a little problem, Yishin said after watching them leave. Okay, I'll go take a look later. Fen Lin didn't care. If Zhu Ruang was in trouble, it might cause trouble. But he didn't take it seriously as just a small business. Yi Shen nodded and said, "My people sent news that someone was investigating me in Jiang City." Fen Lin was stunned for a moment and asked, "It should be the Yi family, right?" Yi Shen sat in the next booth. He nodded, "Yes, my acquisition from the Song family is not a secret. I believe the Yi family already knows. The Yi family has nothing to fear. I will go to Zhu Ruang's house first." Fen Lin waved his hand with a smile. After leaving the door of the club, he stuck his head out again. "By the way, let's arrange the floor." Floor. After Fen Lin's reminder, Yi Shen looked down. And on one of the floors he found a circle that was a little thicker than his thumb. The hole was between 5 and 6 centimeters deep. She frowned strangely. When did this hole come from? Suddenly, he looked at the elevator again and remembered that Yan Yuebai collided with Men Changshan just now. This hole was made by his crutch. Yi Shen looked at her in disbelief. Although she was not an ancient warrior, she knew a lot about power. It is not uncommon for Bijian to be able to make a hole 5 centimeters deep. Yi Shen was surprised that there was only this hole in the ground and not a single additional crack. Like stabbing glass with a dagger, it breaks easily. But it is almost impossible to drill a small crack in the glass without damaging it. And still in a state of silence. Is it in another legendary realm of transformation? Yi Shen was a little confused as to what kind of big shot Fen Lin was. Fen Lin brought Wu Linghuang into Zhu Ruang's company. She found Zhu Ruang sitting on a sofa in the hallway, with only a dozen people in front of her. Fen Lin also knew the two of them. They were Zhao Qingqing and Tang Huang. Seeing Fen Lin come in, Zhao Qingqing was about to walk over when Zhu Ruang stood up first and grabbed Fen Lin's arm. Zhao Qingqing pursed her lips and lowered her head without speaking. Tang Huang also shook his head slightly. She always felt that Mr. Zhu liked Fen Lin and felt that her daughter was in danger. This figure is not of the same scale at all. Its size is almost as big as Tang Qianqian's head. Qianqian's only advantage may be that she is young. Fen Lin. It's too much. That bastard King Peng has gone too far. Zhu Ruang grabbed Fen Lin's arm and shook him hard. Chapter 134 Just a mahjong table. Don't shake, I'm a little dizzy. Fen Lin lightly touched his forehead. After hearing this, Zhu Ruang's face turned red. She quickly pushed Fen Lin away, and immediately turned back to sit on the sofa. Fen Lin walked over with a smile and asked, "What happened?" "Ask them." Zhu Ruang pointed to the people in front of her. Her face was still blushing, which was really cute. "Fen Lin, I received a message that a big company is opening a new branch. It will give me a salary of 15,000 yuan a month and wants me to change jobs." Zhao Qingqing walked over and whispered. "I also received the news. They offered me 13,000 yuan, the 5 insurances and a fund. They said it met national standards." Tang Hong also said, "I was asked to work as a security guard, with a salary of 8,000 yuan a month and 2 days off a week. I was also offered a salary of more than 10,000 yuan. Hearing this, Fen Lin nodded with a smile, knowing that it probably happened. "I estimated that all the employees I worked so hard to recruit were poached at 3 times the salary price," Zhu Ruang said fiercely. "Forget the new employees, the old employees brought from Jiang City. Everyone they left, saying they wanted to fly higher. King, why don't you go?" Fen Lin asked with a smile. Zhao Qingqing smiled and said, "Mr. Zhu is very good to me, not to mention those people will regret it." At this moment, the voices of several people were heard in the distance. Shortly after, several uniformed men and women entered. Zhu Ruang suddenly raised her head and noticed an elderly woman between them. She is also the supervisor that Zhu Ruang brought from Jiang City, named Lin Feng. "Didn't you resign? Why are you back?" Fen Lin stood up from the sofa and asked expressionlessly. "Mr. Zhu, this time I'm here to say a few words to others. Mr. Kim didn't lie to anyone. All the money is real money." Wang Feng looked at Fen Lin's dozen employees. He continued, "As long as you join Mr. Kim's new company, you will receive a 1-month company bonus." "That's right, Bao Wang. Mr. Kim is the son of a wealthy family in Yang City, and it is yes." "Ah, Bao, we are security guards anyway. There's no room to advance, so more money will definitely go where it belongs. Look at my bank card, it's 8,000 yuan. It's free." The remaining dozen people on Zhu Ruang's side swallowed it up. Immediately, the previous security guard walked over and bowed to Zhu Ruang. "Mr. Zhu, I'm sorry. After all, it's for life." "Mr. Zhu, I'm leaving too. Your salary here is too low." "Mr. Zhu, I'm sorry." After Wang Feng and a few people talked about it, 7 or 8 more people left here. Zhu Ruang suddenly stood up, pointed at Wang Feng and shouted, "Leave my company immediately or I will call the police." TCH. Zhuang, I haven't liked you for a long time. If you offended Mr. Qin, you should regret it. Wang Fan pursed his lips and said to the rest of the people before leaving, do whatever you want. Zhuang offended a rich family and the company will close soon. Your foolish loyalty is useless. That's it. Zhuang won't care if you are unemployed, but Mr. Qin will. I heard that Mr. Qin is planning to open a company in Zhang City. Soon, the Zhu family in Zhang City will also go bankrupt. Have a future. Seeing them leave, the remaining people here, looking at each other, a few more people followed them. In fact, several people here continue to stay here for small considerations. Their idea is that if they show their loyalty to Zhuang, they will be reused in the future. As a manager or something, the salary can easily exceed 10,000 yuan, but what Wang Fan and others said is correct. If you offend the rich people of Yun City, the company will disappear and you will continue being a shitty manager. Finally, in the entire newly built company there were only 4 people left. Fen Lin, Zhuang, Tang Hong, Zhao Qingqing. Enough to set up a mahjong table. Fen Lin smiled and sat down on the sofa. You're still laughing. Zhuang puffed her lips and punched Fen Lin on the shoulder several times. New employees are nothing. The key is that this time King Peng sneakily stole many of the elites he brought from Kongjiang City. Fen Lin patted Zhuang on the shoulder and said, it doesn't matter. At least you don't have to worry about how much money I've made for you this year. Zhuang felt a little better after thinking about this. Zhao Qingqing noticed that Fen Lin was very relaxed and asked, Fen Lin, is there anything you need to do? What can you do? Zhuang's eyes also lit up and she couldn't help but grab Fen Lin's arm. Fen Lin helped me with several of my difficulties and must have a solution. Yes, and there's more than one. Fen Lin raised his ears and stood up and said, Andy, Qingqing, you two rest first, I will talk to Mr. Zhu. Tang Hong and Zhao Qingqing nodded together and left here. Fen Lin and Zhuang asked excitedly, what can you do? Fen Lin crossed his legs and slowly replied, my father is an old Chinese doctor and has several mysterious ancient recipes in his hands. Ancient. Upon hearing this, Zhuang's eyes widened in shock. This is a priceless treasure. Take some skincare products as an example, the most expensive ones have good results. In fact, there are things that should not be spread. That's right, don't you sell skincare products? Here I have a recipe that can effectively clear acne in one day, remove wrinkles, and whiten the skin. Stop. Who are you lying to? I only make skincare products to eliminate acne. It works in one day, why don't you go to heaven? Zhuang pursed her lips and didn't believe it at all. When did I lie to you? Do you dare to bet? Fen Lin got up and found a refrigerator in the distance, took out a yogurt box and inserted a straw into it. Okay. What are you betting on? Zhuang definitely didn't believe it. If I come up with this kind of skincare product, let me. Fen Lin put the yogurt in his mouth and sipped on it hard. Zhuang reacted at first, but when she noticed Fen Lin's lit gaze, her face suddenly became hot and she felt a little dizzy. You bastard. Shameless. I'm going to beat you to death today. Zhuang's face was full of embarrassment. She chased after Fen Lin and prepared to take action. Fen Lin walked around the sofa and fled towards the door. Forget it, you'd better figure it out yourself. Stop. Zhuang frowned slightly. What if you can't do it? Fen Lin shrugged. I can't make it at your disposal. Okay. If you can't do it, you have to listen to me for the rest of your life. You have to do what I ask, Zhuang said. Coldly. Fen Lin immediately refused. This is not fair. If you ask me to marry all of my fiancés, will I marry all of them? From now on, I will never think about peace and quiet. Duh. You have a beautiful idea. Zhuang spat, lightly waving her hand lightly. Forget it, no more betting. I think you can do it, right? Believe me, I can't do it either. I'm going to suck it. Fen Lin said and drank all the yogurt. Fen Lin. What the hell? Zhuang gritted her silver teeth and rushed towards Fen Lin. I will fight for you. In the end, Fen Lin took a step back. From now on, as long as there's no one else, he can do anything, lying sparingly on Zhuang's lap. Enjoy Estee Lauder facial cleanser. Fen Lin, led by Zhuang, came to the warehouse behind the company, selected a sack of medicinal materials, and stuffed them into a Linghongwen. His plan is simple. Make money with the rich and take the high-level route. As for the advertising stalls, he is not worried. There are the Zhu family and the Zhu family in Yun City. Yi Shen and Zhu Yong can also help. Fen Lin and Zhuang returned to the villa area together and found King Peng standing in front of Zhuang's villa. He looked at Zhuang meaningfully, shouting, I have been waiting for you for a while. King Peng. You're shameless. Zhu Wang scolded angrily. Fen Lin is more shameless than me. He cheated me of 80 million. I'm here to ask for money today. Kim Pen snapped his fingers, and a dozen tall and powerful men walked out of several cars in the distance. Zhu Wang suddenly looked at Fen Lin and showed a gentle smile. It turned out to be 80 million, I thought it was 60 million. P.S. Brothers, please give me more support. Chapter 135 The Ancient Secret Recipe. Fen Lin's face became serious. He looked at King Pen in the distance and asked sternly, what are you talking about? When did I cheat your money? Are you still pretending? I have transaction records here. You promised me, give me you have 80 million and break up with Zhu Wang. Why didn't you do it? Kim Pen picked up his mobile phone and walked towards Fen Lin surrounded by these strong men. Master Qin, let me ask you, after taking your money, did I break up with Zhu Wang? I did. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and looked at Zhu Wang with a smile. But Zhu Wang's face was cold, so you secretly saved 20 million. Now is not the time to say those things. Fen Lin changed the subject and said to King Pen, give me the money. I told him to break up. We have completed this deal. Boy, no one can take my money. Do it to me. Kim Pen was too lazy to talk nonsense to Fen Lin. Now that he was a rich man, he dared to provoke him. A dozen men looked at Fen Lin and walked over with sneers on their faces. Just as Fen Lin was about to speak, a Heval appeared in the distance and Zhamu, dressed in black casual clothes, jumped out of the car. What are you doing? Zhamu pointed to the people in the distance. Today was a free day. He received a message from Zhu Wang, saying that the company had something to do, so he drove over to take a look. This group of men did not stop, they did not know Zhamu. But King Pen knew that this was a young lady from the Zhao family. When he had faced her before, Kim Pen had always been humble. Now it's different. He is also from a wealthy family. Not only that, he heard from his father that the two young men who went to his house last time were stronger. According to King Pen's knowledge, his family's transformation realm is already at the peak. But their own masters have stronger combat power behind them. Recently, he has become more and more arrogant and does not pay attention to any trash and rich families. Zhamu, you have nothing to do here, leave now. Kim Pen looked at Zhamu proudly and carefully observed that Zhamu, who has short shoulder-length hair and an explosive figure, is also of top beauty. At first, because of Wei Kaiyan, he didn't even dare to have an idea, but now it's different. If we could take both women home, one on each side of the floor when they sleep. Thinking of this, Kim Pen laughed obscenely. In fact, a rich man like him has met many people, including several women. The law stipulates that as long as you marry one, these rich people will marry one, and the rest will have no status. As long as you don't get married, you'll be fine. Kim Pen. Why are you talking to me? Get out of here right now. Otherwise, I will arrest you for gathering a crowd to fight. Zhamu said as he walked over here and stood with Zhu Wang. Haha. Do you think I'm still afraid of you? Besides, I'm just a spectator, and this incident has nothing to do with me. As soon as King Pen finished speaking, the dozen strong men here rushed over. When Zhamu saw this, he clenched his fists and faced him. Zhu Wang also took a deep breath, just in time to test the results of the recent training. Originally, Fen Lin was about to act, but when he saw the two girls come up, he immediately stopped where he was. Boom. Zhamu kicked one man and punched another in the face. The movements are very cool. Zhu Wang's fighting skills inherited Fen Lin's fighting tradition. Simply put, it means there are no bells or whistles and you can kill in one hit, definitely not two. But after all, the two of them were ordinary people. In front of more than a dozen people, their bodies still suffered many attacks. What are you doing? Stop hitting women, hit that guy Fen Lin. Kim Pen didn't expect these two women to be so powerful. After hearing King Pen's order, the rest of the people rushed towards Fen Lin. Save me. Fen Lin hid behind Zhu Wang and Zhamu again. Seeing this, Kim Pen almost died in pain. It didn't matter that this cute boy had no money. The key was to hide behind women even in fights. But Zhu Wang likes this kind of man. Crazy. Get rid of this kid. Kim Pen's face was filled with jealousy, and the more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Kim Pen. What you just said is the reason why I arrested you. Zhamu looked at King Pen and took out his mobile phone from his pocket. Kim Pen clenched his fists tightly. This time he could only let Feng Lin go temporarily. They would beat him to death when no one was around in private. I'm joking, let's go. Kim Pen waved his hand and turned to leave. Feng Lin watched them all, even looked at the two people in front of him with a smile. The two beauties are so powerful. Why don't you do something? Zhu Wang covered the corners of her mouth. I was punched a moment ago and I was bleeding. Actual combat is good for both of us. Your face is hurt. Try my medicine. Fen Lin pushed the two of them from behind and pushed them towards the villa. Then he lifted the bag from the trunk of the car. Two beauties were sitting on a sofa, both holding small mirrors and looking at each other's faces. Especially Zhuang, she had a bruise on her mouth, which was very ugly. Fen Lin mixed the medicinal materials, washed them with water, and finally kneaded them into a ball, covered them with his hands, and placed them on top of a container. When the preparations were ready, Fen Lin closed his eyes. Buzz! The key in his hands flowed into the palms of his hands and drops of viscous liquid slowly fell from the gaps in Fen Lin's hands. Soon, a little green liquid, with a consistency similar to honey, appeared in the container. Fen Lin spread his hands in the medicinal materials and his palm turned into dark feces. Men Chen taught Feng Lin how to kill people, and Fen Chen taught Feng Lin how to save people. In comparison, Fen Lin's medical skills were stronger, so they called him the Doctor of Death. Throwing away the remains of the medicine, Fen Lin washed his hands and walked out with a bowl in his hand. Long wait, our ancient Feng family's ancestral secret recipe. What is this? It looks disgusting. Zhuang looked at the contents in the green liquid container. This is the recipe I prepared. Fen Lin directly used his fingers to apply it to the bruise around Zhuang's mouth. Zhuang took a deep breath. It was very cold. She lifted instinctively and found that the taste was not bad. Fen Lin smeared the remaining medicine on Zhamu's face. It only takes half an hour. After Fen Lin said that, he went to the kitchen to wash the dishes, returned to the living room and sat on the sofa to wait. During this period, Zhamu also learned what happened from Zhuang. He looked at his face from time to time and saw that the original green liquid had turned into a black solid. Its lightness duct tape stuck to it. It's time. Fen Lin walked over, held Zhuang's chin, and revealed the black medicinal essence. Under the medicine there's white, intact skin. How is this possible? There was clearly a bruise just now. Zhuang stood up in shock and carefully looked at her cheek. It really disappeared. The ointment on Zhamu's face was also removed and the face that had been scratched was still intact. No way. Is there really such a magical medicine? Zhamu couldn't believe it. Medicines are so miraculous. The ancients did not believe that diseases that can kill people could be cured by taking a few pills in modern times. Fen Lin threw the ointment into the trash, sat down on the sofa again and watched him with a smile. They both said, "Tell me, how much is this patent of mine worth?" Zhuang and Zhamu looked at each other, both surprised and speechless. Even Zhamu, who doesn't understand business, knows that this recipe is a priceless treasure. Husband. Zhuang walked over and hugged Fen Lin's arm. He seemed to see that his company could be famous throughout the country, and even the world. Fen Lin shouted domineeringly, "What's wrong with me giving you 20 million? Zhuang smiled and rested her head on Fen Lin's shoulder. Haha, it's okay, whatever you say is what it is. Chapter 136. You are good or bad, I like you very much. Zhamu looked at the two of them with some displeasure, flirting in front of him. Did he really think she didn't exist? He walked over with his arms crossed and said flatly, "Fen Lin, our Zhao family has invested in this product of yours." Talk to Zhuang. This big drug cannot be mass-produced. We only have high-end roots. Fen Lin, but there's no time to stay here all day to refine medicine for them. Okay. Zhamu immediately called his grandmother and told her about this magic recipe. Although he is not interested in business, he has very of course, this medicine is a product of the times. From now on, don't bother me. Fen Lin entered the kitchen carrying the sack, preparing to refine everything at once. This was a lot of work. Complete, Fen Lin finally finished refining it. He was sweating profusely and all the energy in his body was exhausted. It had been a long time since he was so tired. Zhuang, who was outside, saw Fen Lin coming out and rushed to help him. What's the matter? Are you so tired? Do you think this kind of magical medicine can be prepared easily? Fen Lin pointed to the kitchen. He took out half of the essence from the sink and exhaled. Put it away, I'm going to take a bath. Zhuang nodded and watched as the liquid in the sink had turned solid black. After a while, Fen Lin walked out and collapsed on the sofa and shouted, "Where is my pillow? Here comes Zhuang." He trotted guiltily. Fen Lin was the boss today, so he had to behave well. Once the company has weathered the storm, the old debts can be settled. Fen Lin rested comfortably on his lap, his eyes blinded again. With a smile. The medicine is solidified, is it okay? It's okay, it will melt after heating it. I will give you a recipe later, boil it into a potion and dilute the essence. Fen Lin is medicine. The introduction, even if someone is willing to research the ingredients, it is impossible to copy it. Of course, only someone like his father can do it. Fen Lin, how much should it be diluted? Zhu Wang asked again. It's about 7 or 8 barrels of dilution. According to the quantity per person, it can probably be sold to 7 or 8,000 people, Fen Lin thought, as long as he could resolve the acne in one day. Fen Lin, I have an idea, but I think it's a bit shameless. Please give me a reference. Zhu Wang had just discussed a lot with Zhamu and maximized the benefits based on the knowledge he had learned. Since he was taking the high-end route, the packaging had to be high-end, so he planned to let the Zhao family make boxes of high-end packaging. This way he will be able to make another fortune. After hearing this, Fen Lin nodded slightly. Anyway, he only made money with rich people and would cheat him if he could. I would like to ask, is there any version of low range of this medicine? It can also cure injuries, but the treatment time is not that fast, Zhu Wang asked again. Yes, just follow my recipe and dilute it a little more, Fen Lin nodded. Okay, a total of 8 can be diluted barrels. We will only take 4 barrels to take the high-end route, and dilute the remaining 4 barrels into more than a dozen barrels, so that we can make more money. Zhu Wang took the calculator and calculated the accounts here. You bitch, really do you know how to make money? Fen Lin suddenly asked. This is the most basic. I'm already conscientious enough, Zhu Wang suddenly asked, how much should I sell for high-end medicines? 80,000. Fen Lin said. It's too expensive. A family of 80,000 people could also undergo plastic surgery. Let's set it at 50,000 yuan. For a rich woman, it is only 1 or 2 bags. Zhu Wang estimated that at 50,000 yuan, the high-end it can sell to 4,000 people, only 200 million. Including the middle to low segment, it can sell for at least 300 to 400 million yuan. Zhu Wang couldn't believe that his father had only earned more than 1 billion after working so hard for so many years. Fen Lin rested here for a while and then handed another prescription to Zhu Wang. Fen Lin was going to Yishin's club and asked Lao Qi to go to King's house to monitor Quick Wu's strange behavior. Zhu Wang called Zhao King and Tang Hong to help him. 3 are enough to cook medicinal herbs. Narcissus Club. Fen Lin arrived at the 9th floor and found Men Changsheng holding Ergo Otoyu, sitting in a wheelchair, looking at the scenery outside the window. Changsheng spoke to him with a smile. It was not easy for Yishin to approach a cold-blooded person like Sakam Jin, but Men Changsheng, a master, spoke in an approachable manner. Being able to gain a sense of presence in front of such an expert is a sure benefit. Mr. Fen Lin is here. Yishin noticed Fen Lin coming and greeted him with a smile. Men Changsheng also turned around with a smile and put a sip of wine into his mouth. This place is good, the liquor is free. Drink less. Fen Lin walked over with a smile and leaned against the wall next to him. Yishin, your subordinates are now how many people are there? Who are they? Bullies. Yishin asked doubtfully. Yes, they are the kind of people who are relatively inactive. I will make a fortune from them. Fen Lin told Yishin what happened today. Yishin covered her lips and laughed, wondering why Fen Lin could always turn any unfavorable situation into a profitable one. Don't worry, my people have recently expanded their close circle. 200 people can be called. 200 people are enough. Please explain to them and let them go to Zhu Wang's company. After Fen Lin finished speaking, he went again find Yan Yuanbai and asked him to visit King's house when he has nothing to do. Then, he brought Wu Linghuang to Zhu Wang's company. During this period, Zhu Wang also sent a message to Fen Lin, telling him that the potion had been completed. Fen Lin asked Zhu Wang to go to the company first. The first person to arrive was not Zhu Wang, but Liu Tu. Liu Tu, a bald man with more than 200 people, seemed to be about to start a group fight. When he saw Fen Lin at the door of the company, he hurriedly ran to flatter him. Hey! Brother, we are here. Hello brother. The 200 people behind him bowed to Fen Lin. Fen Lin waved his hands at the people around him. Brothers, I won't let you fight today, I will help you make money today. Why don't you thank me, brother? Liu Tu shouted at the people behind him. Thanks brother. The group of people nodded. At this time, Zhu Wang also drove. Seeing so many people at the door, she thought King Pen was calling to make trouble, but she met a bald man who looked familiar. Remembering that it was Yishin's, he breathed a sigh of relief. Fen Lin, I sent all the medicines to the Zhao family. Zhamu said that there are only 10,000 copies in total and they can be completed in one day. Zhu Wang walked over and said with a smile. Okay, let's take advantage of this time to let King Pen do something. Fen Lin whispered a few words in Zhu Wang's ear. Zhu Wang laughed loudly. How bad you are. I like it very much, Master Qin. I just received news that Zhu Wang's company has 1 or 200 more people. Wang Feng immediately ran to the office to report. The task given by King Pen was to guard Zhu Wang's company. 100 or 200 people. So many, what are they for? Kim Pen frowned. How could he get 200 people at once? Could it be that they were transferred from Chong City? I don't know, but those people in Zhu Roing went to the factory behind the company. Wei Fang shook his head. Come with me. Let me see what they're doing. Kim Pen immediately got up and left with Wei Fang. Zhu Roing's company. Kim Pen, led by Wei Fang, arrived at the factory behind the company. It can be seen from a distance that Zhu Roing is teaching these people how to operate the machine. Haha, there should be a supply shortage. We are going to recruit a group of new technicians and work overtime to complete a batch first. Wei Fang said with a smile when he saw the scene in front of him. It turns out that he is an ordinary worker. He is easy to handle. Kim Pen put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked over with a domineering look. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 137 It's time to end. Zhu Roing was teaching patiently and Liu Tu and others were also pretending to learn. At this moment, Kim Pen appeared from a distance. Zhu Roing noticed Kim Pen and immediately walked over coldly. What are you doing here? Get out. Haha, the supply has run out and you're starting to get sick and seek medical treatment indiscriminately. Kim Pen curled up into a ball. Lips with disdain. Kim Pen. Leave my company immediately or I will call the police. Zhu Roing took out a mobile phone and shouted. Brothers, this boss likes to deceive people the most. Come back to me and get a monthly salary of 8,000. As long as you follow me, you will get 1 month's salary for free. Kim Pen opened his arms and said with an air of grandeur. Silly beep. Mr. Zhu gave us a salary of 15,000 yuan a month. Ha ha ha. 8,000 yuan, isn't it a shame? I am moving bricks at the construction site and I can earn 10,000 yuan less every month. Everyone here started talking. He mocked. Hearing this, Kim Pen felt his face burn. A rich young man was ridiculed by a group of idiots. However, Zhu Roing felt that it was considered cost-cutting and all new workers received 15,000 yuan. It should be that they are afraid of breaking the contract and are in a hurry to produce. That wouldn't even allow him to fulfill his wish. Haha. Brothers, it was just a joke, 30,000 a month, go away. Kim Pen crossed his arms and said domineeringly. But the people here have not yet taken a step. Kim Pen, you underestimate the relationship between our brothers. I met these people at the construction site. Do you think they will go if you offer them double the salary? Fen Lin laughed mockingly and said, don't forget to give Kim Pen the finger half. Zhu Roing also showed a light smile, don't worry about him, let's continue studying. It's very simple. Seeing this, Kim Pen's eyes narrowed. No wonder these people can only work at the construction site. How much is loyalty worth? However, he also knew that as long as there were enough of them, these people would definitely come. Kim Pen suddenly raised 5 fingers and said, 50,000, just follow me. Each person will receive 50,000 cash on the spot. Anyway, he is just using these people. You will simply find a way to scare them away below. Month. Hearing this, everyone who was still studying in the distance turned around. Hearing this, Fen Lin hurriedly said, don't listen to him, he is lying to you. Haha. Fen Lin, I'm like you. Brothers, follow me. If you don't give me the money, can you just go back? Kim Pen looked at the people around him and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Well, I'll go take a look. If it's fake, I'll come back and tell you. I'll go take a look too. If there are too many people, he won't dare. Kim Pen laughed naturally, come here. Line up and I will transfer the bonus to you now, 50,000 yuan each. Liu Tu walked over first, took out his bank card and said, you'd better not make any jokes. Kim Pen took out his mobile phone and operated it quickly. Ding dong. A text message came from Liu Tu's cell phone. He opened it and said in surprise, damn. It's really here. Hey. That. Did my wife give birth to a son? A young man pretended to make a phone call, greeted Fen Lin, sorry, something happened at home, I'll go back first. Others followed suit and took out their mobile phones. Hey. Mom, did you give birth to a son? Oh, I'll be right back. Dad, what's your name now? That. Did you give birth to a son? I'll go to the hospital right away. There are 100 people here, all pretending to make a phone call and go to Kim Pen. Kim Pen smiled at Fen Lin and showed him the middle finger, turned around and left with all these people. After at the same time, Fen Lin and Zhu Roing were the only 2 people left in the company. The 2 looked at each other and smiled before preparing to return. Zhu Ruang got into his Mercedes first and said to Fen Lin, "I'm going to the company. Shamu's has to take a look. Be careful." Fen Lin waved his hand and took Wu Linghuang back to Yishen's club. However, not long after starting, he suddenly saw a black figure jumping and get off the car. Yan pointed at Fen Lin and said coldly. Fen Lin suddenly reversed, swerving towards a road. Sudden prepared to leave. Boom. At this moment, a loud sound came from the roof of his car. Fen Lin looked up, sighed helplessly, and took the initiative to open the passenger door. Yi Yang, who was on the roof of the car, saw this and easily jumped out, sat on the passenger seat and closed the door. "Take out your phone or I'll kill you. You know I've killed people before. I'm not kidding you." Yi Yang took out the dagger and pointed at Fen Lin's neck, trying to hide his killing intent. After his injury healed, he couldn't wait to search for Fen Lin and finally found him here. "It's useless for you to use my phone. I told my friends a long time ago that as long as I die, your videos will be everywhere." Fen Lin started the car with a smile and parked it on the side of the road. "So your friend saw it?" Yan gritted his teeth and his eyes turned slightly red. Fen Lin explained with a smile. "Don't worry, my friend is a girl. Eliminate. Otherwise I will kill you. Then kill yourself. I will do what I tell you." Yan pointed the dagger at Fen Lin. His hands were shaking. "You don't dare to commit suicide. How could you, who are so afraid of death, commit suicide?" Fen Lin said calmly, "As long as you let Yishen's mother go, I will erase it." Yan shook her head. "No, maybe. She has always been at my grandfather's house and no one can get close to her. That's why I asked you for help. If it were that easy, I wouldn't be willing to delete it." Fen Lin smiled and spread his hands. Yan put away the dagger. She was an ancient warrior and it was easy to kill Fen Lin. "You're not afraid of him sneaking out on you?" He looked forward and thought for a long time before saying coldly, "Tomorrow is my grandfather's birthday. There will be an auction. I will take the opportunity to go to the top of the mountain to take a look." Fen Lin asked strangely. "Yes, every time my grandfather has a birthday, he will auction off some antique items he has collected and donate all the money from the sales to charities in Yum City. This tradition has gone on for 7 or 8 years. Okay, your information is very important. You don't need to do anything. Your task tomorrow is to tell me where Yishen's mother is imprisoned, that's all." Fen Lin looked into the distance. Yishen's matter should be over. "I didn't touch the Yi family before because I was afraid that the people of Jianlan would find out. Now that we know that the evil spirits will come in a few days, there is no need to hide." Of course, Fen Lin would definitely not use Death Knight's reputation and just let Lao Qi dress casually. Death Knight's reputation is still too loud. Even if you are an evil earth spirit, you should think twice when you hear the name of Death Knight. Yan looked at Fen Lin. "Let me remind you that if you let Yishen go to his house, you are walking into a trap. You don't have to worry about what will happen next." Fen Lin shook his head slightly. "Okay. I'll wait for you tomorrow." Yan opened the car door, jumped out of the car, and closed the door. Fen Lin drove back to the club and told the whole story. After Yishen heard this, 2 lines of hot tears appeared in her deep eyes. She dropped down and knelt before Fen Lin. "Mr. Fen Lin, as long as I can save my mother, I am willing to be a servant for the rest of my life." "Don't be a servant, be his concubine, at least it can be regarded as a state." Men Cheng walked over smoking a pipe. After Yishen's guidance, he realized that this wheelchair was actually electric. "It's quite fun to play. Smoke your cigarette." Fen Lin rolled his eyes and helped Yishen up. "Stop crying, get dressed and go see your mother tomorrow." "Yes." Yishen wiped away her tears and nodded gently. "Now, wait until tomorrow." Chapter 138. Damn, this young man. Fen Lin sent another message to Zhu Ruang, telling her about the auction and that she should bring some samples tomorrow. Going to his house to advertise, this kind of meeting of big businessmen is rare. "Boss, second master, I'm back." Yan Yuanbai put his hands in his trouser pockets and held a bottle of beer in his hand. Fen Lin asked with a smile, "Is there nothing wrong?" "No, he's been at the back of the mansion." Yan Yuanbai took a sip of beer and sat on the chair next to him. "Tomorrow I will take Yishen to her house to compete in decorating. You can go and be the teacher alongside Yi. I don't like those kinds of occasions." On the contrary, Yan Yuanbai loves to be lively. "Really? I just like to follow that boss and pretend." Yan Yuanbai looked at Men Cheng. "Will the second master go too?" "Go. I have never been to Yan City, and I only have time to wander around." Men Cheng said with a smile. Fen Lin smiled helplessly. It seemed like the second master had guessed that the Yi family would put on a good show tomorrow. The next day, Zhuang got up early to exercise in the yard and then made breakfast for Fen Lin. Fen Lin, I won't be with you anymore. I heard that my parents are coming too, Zhuang said to Fen Lin while eating. What? What are they doing here? Fen Lin became angry when he thought of Wai Qin. My parents have been coming here for 3 years in a row. They say it's an auction, but they're actually buying something related to the Yi family. Zhuang once heard her father say that if she were lucky enough to take pictures of Mr. Yizan's items, then Yizan would personally deliver the items to the buyers and there would probably be tens of seconds of communication time. During this period of time, if you can capture Yizan's heart, it can be said that the company will rise to the sky. That's it. Fen Lin nodded slightly. Just like the foreign auction stock guard's lunch, no one came here for the food. Zhuang left first after eating. Fen Lin was also about to leave for the Narcissus Club, and as soon as he got into the car, he received a text message on his phone. It turns out that Zhu Yan is also planning to come to Yan City. Fen Lin didn't care. After all, it was so close that it would only take an hour to drive on the highway. Arrival of Club Narciso. Yan Yubai wore no makeup, just a wavy wig and black rimmed glasses. Yishin took special care of herself, wearing a black dress and red heels. Coupled with the unique mature atmosphere, every gesture can attract everyone's attention. Mr. Sakong, are you not going? Yishin looked around and didn't find Sakong nearby. The fourth child is playing or sleeping. We don't worry about him. Fen Lin put his arm around Yan Yuai's shoulders. The seventh child is your bodyguard today. Although Yishin was a little confused, she still nodded her head. The Yi family. Lanterns and colors. Early in the morning, the foot of the mountain at Yi's house was full of vehicles. Many people have been waiting here early. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the front door of Yi's house opened. People here go to the mountainside, where there's a very large square. Already full of tables and chairs. Dad. Mom. Zhuang saw Zhu Chuan and Wai Qin from a distance. Oh, my daughter, I have missed you so much these days since you left. Wai Qin stepped forward and hugged Zhuang. Zhu Chuan also asked next to him. How is the progress of the new company? Don't worry, let me introduce you. This is Zhamu, my good friend. Zhuang took Zhamu's hand. Zhamu smiled and nodded. Hello, uncle and aunt. Zhamu and Zhao, are you from the Zhao family in Yan City? Zhu Chuan's face changed in shock. Zhao family. The three rich families of Yan City, the Zhao family. Wai Qin also covered her mouth in shock that her daughter had met such an important fish. Haha. Just ordinary people. Zhamu smiled and waved his hand. Wai Qin's smile immediately flattered her. This was a rich family, much more powerful than the four major families in Zhang City. He was about to flatter Zhamu and praise her for her beauty. Zhamu left first and walked away. Wai Qin followed his gaze and saw Fen Lin, who was pushing a wheelchair with an old man sitting in it. Next to Fen Lin were Yishin and Yan Yubai. Fen Lin, you are here too, Zhamu greeted Fen Lin. Wai Qin here secretly glanced and asked in a low voice. Zhao, the young lady of the Zhao family, how do you know Fen Lin? She likes Fen Lin too. Zhuang pursed her lips and did so. Don't say that the other party was Fen Lin's fiancé. That. Wai Qin quickly took Zhuang's hand. Let him go if you must, and don't make others angry. Mom. You don't have to worry about my affairs. She likes Fen Lin, which proves that I'm right. After Zhuang finished speaking, he walked over quickly. Wai Qin sighed slightly. Although he had always looked down on Fen Lin, he had to say that the last time Fen Lin saved Zhuang. Really manly. Fen Lin. Zhuang walked over and looked at Men Chengsheng strangely. Who was it? She remembered that Fen Lin used to be very casual and indifferent to everyone. This was the first time she had seen him and he would take the initiative to recommend others' chair. This is my second master, Fen Lin explained with a smile. This young man, damn it. It's so big. Men Chengsheng looked at Fen Lin and showed a little smile. You. Zhuang was about to say hello, but suddenly puffed her lips and snorted. Fen Lin must have learned bad things from you. Fen Lin rolled his eyes helplessly and changed the subject. Have you brought your things? Bring it here. I have 3 copies. Let's watch our performance later. Zhuang patted the pockets of her uniform. I was a little nervous alone. But Zhamu said that he gradually relaxed after being with her. A few people chatted casually, and Zhuang, under the leadership of Zhamu, was going to chat with some rich women to build closer relationships first. At this moment, a scream came from a distance. Fen Lin. Brat, how dare you lie to me? Fen Lin turned around and it was King Pen who came. Next to him was Wei Baki. King Pen was so angry that the more than 200 people yesterday fled as soon as they were given 50,000. In the end, Wang Baqi told him that he had been deceived and that those people were working with Fen Lin to defraud money. Let me go quickly, I have nothing to do with you. Men Chengsheng turned his wheelchair and distanced himself from Fen Lin. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. Second master, you are so disrespectful. Suddenly, he saw an acquaintance, Yi Kai, approaching with an indifferent expression. His arm is healed, but his head is still bandaged. Fen Lin immediately walked towards him, stood next to Yi Kai, pointed at King Pen and cursed. Kim Pen, why don't you kneel, Mr. Yi? Kneel. Yi Kai looked at Fen Lin fiercely, saying. When Wang Baqi saw this, he had only one word in his heart. Cool. Now that Fen Lin had offended two young men from wealthy families at the same time, he didn't know how he would die in the future. Ha ha ha. Mr. Yi, I apologize for what happened last time. Now Fen Lin has been handed over to you. You can do whatever you want. Kim Pen felt that his power was enough. He wanted Fen Lin to die anyway, so he handed over this scapegoat, leads open. Shut up. You have no place to talk here. Yi Kai glanced coldly at King Pen, then focused on Yi Shen. Come here. Arrest this woman. Yeah. Behind Yi Kai, two people walked out. Fen Lin raised his eyebrows. Ancient warrior. Chapter 139. Who am I? Men Chengsheng started his electric wheelchair and quickly drove away from here. The fighting in the province affected him. Fen Lin also took a few steps back to get out of the way. Lao Qi was here anyway. Not to mention these two trashes, even if the family's eldest son comes, he still can't compete with the seventh son. When Yan Yabai wanted to join Dead Knight, Fen Lin refused on the spot. Because his strength is too weak and he is not on the same level as the other members of Dead Knight. I remember a few years ago when Yan Yabai joined Dead Knight, he was in the late stage of the transformation realm. Fen Lin didn't even look at him at that time and simply asked him to go back. It was Liu Nine who pleaded with Fen Lin, saying that Yan Yabai's powerful concealment ability could become the eyes of the Dead Knight. Fen Lin was forced to agree. However, in the past few years after the Night of Death, Yan Yabai has improved quite well and is now considered a master. Today is Yi Zan's birthday. Everyone in Jiangbai with assets over 100 million can participate in the auction he holds. Why can't I go? Yi Shen didn't call his grandfather. He had no feelings for the Yi family. What are you doing standing? Catch him. Yi Kai was too lazy to talk nonsense with Yi Shen and greeted the two people around him. The two family masters nodded and reached out to grab Yi Shen's arm. Boom. Boom. Yan Yabai, who was standing next to Yi Shen, kicked the two of them in the face and neck with a high kick. Boom. Their bodies flew in the same direction and crashed into the grass in the distance. This scene shocked everyone who looked around. No one could have imagined that the woman with black framed glasses next to Yi Shen could be so strong. A kid can knock someone down. Not to mention other people, even Yi Shen couldn't believe it. She always thought that Yan Yabai was Fen Lin's cousin and was only staying with her temporarily. Unexpectedly, she was also a powerful ancient warrior. Because she still vaguely remembered the two middle-aged men in front of her. 10 years ago, they were already masters in the middle Minjin stage. Not to mention now, but Yan Yabai kicked him out. Yi Kai's eyes widened in shock. He had known for a long time that there was a master around Yi Shen, but he didn't expect him to be so strong. These two were masters who have entered the late stages of Minjin. Is it possible that the woman in front of me has entered the dark realm? Presumptuous. Yi Shen, you are so brave. In the distance, a couple approached and it was Lin Feng who spoke. Dad. Mom. Yi Kai saw the two of them and hurried over. Lin Feng pointed at Yi Shen and said coldly, who allowed you to enter Yi's house? Why don't you kneel? Why can't I go? If you want to kick me out, just ask Yi Zan to come out. Yi Shen narrowed her eyes slightly and wondered. The unique aura is gradually released. With Fen Lin here today, he was not afraid of anyone. Bold. Can you say your grandfather's name? Yi Ta frowned and shouted coldly. Grandfather. The people around him were full of doubts, whispering among themselves and talking about it. I remember that Mr. Yi only has one granddaughter, named Yan. Yes, she is the eldest son of the Yi family, Yi Men's daughter. Is it possible? Have you forgotten that Mr. Do you also have a daughter? My name is Yi Dan. Back then. After being reminded, all the onlookers suddenly realized. It turns out that Yi Shen is the child Yi Dan was pregnant with back then. That is the shame of the Yi family. You must know that this was 30 years ago and people's thinking was still relatively conservative, let alone in a big family like the Yi family. When he was young, Yi Dan is a son and the key man doesn't even know who Yi is. Back then, the entire Yi family was so embarrassed that they couldn't even lift their heads. Husband, it turns out that she has something to do with the Yi family. Wei King hugged Zhu Chuan's arm and whispered. Zhu Chuan did not speak. Now it seems that his success has nothing to do with the Yi family. Zhu Ruang, who was preparing to sell in the distance, also looked up. It turns out that Yi Shen is from the Yi family. What grandfather? Is a person like Yi Zhan worthy of being my grandfather? Yi Shen tried hard to hide the fluctuations on her face, but her eyes still couldn't help but turn slightly red. You're brave. Come here. Bring Yi Shen. Ignore the family rules and you will be severely punished. Li Mihong said with a cold face. Suddenly, two ancient warriors appeared in the distance. All of them were over 50 years old. The Yi family has regulations that all ancient teachers can only obey Yi Zhan's orders. Yi Zhan transferred 4 dark power masters to them and gave them to his 2 sons, Yi Min and Yi Tao, respectively. The 2 dark masters in front of him are Yi Tao's people. And this kid? Take him down together. He and Yi Shen are on the same team. When Yu Kai saw Teacher and Jin come in, he felt happy and pointed to Fen Lin and said. Hearing this, Zhu Chuan and Wei King were surprised. When did Fen Lin and Yi Shen walk together? This brat. He's not following anyone, but he's following Yi Shen. Wei King cursed in his heart, and immediately looked for Zhu Ruang, and sure enough, he discovered that his daughter was walking in that direction. He quickly ran a few steps and grabbed Zhu Ruang's arm. Stop. What are you doing? We can't offend the Yi family. Mom. Let me go. Zhu Ruang struggled to break free. Look. Miss Zhao is gone. Look here, leave the limelight to her. Wei King didn't want to provoke the Yi family, but when he saw Shamu walking towards Fen Lin, he was caught even more. Zhu Ruang could only nod. Shamu's role was much greater than hers, not to mention that he had already provoked the King family. If he offends the Yi family again, his Zhu family's property in Zhang City may truly disappear. Kim Peng and Wei Baqi in the distance were laughing so hard that their mouths were about to burst. Everyone wished for Fen Lin to die immediately. Fen Lin. I will play while with you. Yi Kai's face twisted. He really couldn't understand how this kid dared to come after having clearly offended the Yi family. Shamu walked over. Just as he was about to speak, a loud voice came from a distance. Stop. This voice immediately attracted everyone's attention. I saw a middle-aged man with half-white hair and a beautiful woman wearing a peaked cap walking from a distance. This is Zhu Yuan from Zhang City. A middle-aged businessman exclaimed in surprise. On the other hand, some young people are not very clear about the name of this person. Sir, do the people of Zhang City dare to challenge the rich families of Yun City? He doesn't know that Zhu Yuan is at the peak of the late Ajin stage and is only one step away from entering the transformation realm. Even in Yun City, he is a little weaker than the rich families. He is actually at the peak of his secret strength. The people around looked at Zhu Yuan in shock. Since he is the pinnacle of Jin, he is almost the one at the top of Zhang City. These two are my friends. I asked the Yi family not to embarrass them for my sake. Zhu Yuan pointed at Fen Lin and Yi Shen in front of him, and laughed a few times at Yi Tao and others. Ying. Zhu Ruang discovered that Zhu Ziyang was also come in, and immediately threw away Wei King's hand and trotted over. Who do you think you are? Do you dare to interfere with my Yi family's affairs? Yi Kai sneered again and again. He finally caught Fen Lin and prepared to torture him. How could he let a person from Zhang City go free? Just one sentence. Who I am. Zhu Yuan's eyes narrowed into a thin line. He raised his hand slightly and placed it in front of Yi Kai. Boom. Yi Kai's body trembled and he felt as if his chest was about to burst. In an instant, he flew back and a mouthful of blood gushed out. And Jin was transformed. The Kingdom of Transformation. Chapter 142. Naive. Yi Kai hit the ground hard and it was so painful that he could not make a sound and continued to roll on the ground. Zhu Yuan stood with his hands behind his hands and said expressionlessly, Who do you think I am? The entire audience was surprised. And Jin takes shape. Zhu Yuan broke through and entered the legendary transformation realm. Damn. What happened to us in Jiangbai recently? Suddenly there are so many transformation realms. Yes. Doesn't it cost money to transform? It was the King family before, and now it is Mr. Zhu Yuan. I think Zhu Yuan deserves it, sir. After all, he was at the peak of Jin many years ago. Zhu Yuan is a bit of face in the entire Jiangbai. He was at the peak of Anjin very early, and after so many years, it makes sense that he has entered in his transformed form. Fen Lin had already noticed it since Zhu Yuan first appeared. Once he crosses this threshold, his strength will be able to improve even more in the future. However, Zhu Yuan now seems to have about 50 years old. According to him, he was injured 20 years ago and can't move forward. This proves that he reached the peak of Jin when he was around 30 years old. This kind of person can become a high-level person even in the Legion. Secret. Ying Ying, why are you here too? Zhu Yuan ran over with a smile and took Zhu Ziyang's hand. Hey, I'm just here to find you. Next to her. Zhu Yan. You are so brave. Are you bully in my Yi family? Do you dare to come to my house and beat my son? Lin Feng immediately hugged Yi Kai in her arms, pointed at Zhu Yan and cursed. I think it's your Yi family who was bullying me, Zhu Yan. I just said, give me some face. You can tell me if you don't, but Amir Jr. dares to scold me. I'm already merciful. Zhu Yan said calmly. Fen Lin was his benefactor. Not only did he treat his injuries and from his daughter, it also allowed him to enter the realm of transformation. I could never repay this kindness in this life, let alone offend the Yi family. So what if I offended Jiao and to seal the forest no more? She knew what expression to use when facing Fen Lin. She and Zhu Yan hadn't even spoken. How could he offend the Yi family because of her? You don't need to think about it to know that she helped him completely because of Fen Lin. Transformation Master Yi Shen was really confused as to what was behind Fen Lin. Kim Peng and Wei Baqi looked gloomy. However, everyone knows that Fen Lin avoided the disaster thanks to you. Not only Kim Peng and others, but also Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing in the distance also thought the same. Honey, I finally know why Mr. Zhu helped Fen Lin. It turned out to be because of Yi Shen. Wei Qing asked in a low voice, do you think Mr. Zhu is attracted to Yi Shen? It's possible. I heard that Zhu Yuan's wife has been dead for more than 20 years, Zhu Chuan whispered too, but he was confused about how Fen Lin met Yi Shen. I remember that Yi Shen also splashed Fen Lin with water. Hectares. I see, what should I say? It turns out that your support is Zhu Yan. At this moment, a burly man came down from the top of the mountain. This person is Yi Ming, Yi Zan's eldest son. In fact, Yi Tao had guessed it before. His father said that Yi with his Yi family. The purpose of my visit this time is very simple. To let my mother go. Yi Shen looked at Yi Ming in the distance and said. Haha, Yi Shen, you think too much of yourself. Yi Dan is my sister. She has pure blood from the Yi family. You're just a bastard. The Yi family has done everything possible to raise you. Yi Ming is this person. He is quite rough to begin with, and he never speaks through his brain. It can be said that he is ruthless. At this moment, Fen Lin's phone vibrated. He looked at it and saw that it was a message from Yi Yan. My grandfather has come down from the mountain. I'm going to find her now. Fen Lin smiled and hung up the phone. It's up to him whether the head of the Yi family will dare to take action. If he wants to take action, it will be really great. From now on, there will be another stain on the Yi family. The Yi family is really a rich family. I won't shed tears until I see the coffin. Yi Shen's voice became increasingly cold. Today, he has two transformation realms. One of them is Men Cheng Sheng and the other is Zhu Yan. He didn't believe that two people in the transformation realm were afraid of only Yi Zan. Yi Shen, you're too naive. Your innocence makes me want to laugh. Do you think the transformation realm is the pinnacle? Yi Ming crossed his arms and said with a proud expression. There are also high and low levels of transformation. Yes, a person who has just evolved still wants to be rebellious in the Yi family. As soon as he finished speaking, a figure in tangsuit jumped down from the mountain. Boom. The ground shook violently and cracks appeared on the stone path under Yi Zan's feet. He looked round with an indifferent expression, putting strong pressure on people, and finally set his eyes on Yi Shen. Damn. What a way to show up. Men Cheng Sheng smoked his pipe and watched the show with great interest. Dad. Look at Yi Kai. It was Zhu Yan who hit him. Li Ming hugged Yi Kai and yelled at Yi Zan. Yi Zan expressionlessly walked towards Zhu Yan and stopped 5 meters away from him. Zhu Yan, kneel down and apologize to my grandson. Let's drop this matter. Today's your big day. There are so many guests. Everyone was staring, and hitting Yi Kai would be a slap in the face. If we are not held accountable, how will outsiders view the Yi family in the future? Senior Yi, it was your junior who insulted me first. Zhu Yan showed a slight smile and was also about to touch Yi Zan to see how far behind he was. I don't like saying it a second time. Yi Zan put his foot down. Boom. The ground beneath his feet was cracked into a round shape, extending in all directions for a full 2 or 3 meters. Everyone around was shocked. This may be the true origin of the wealthy family. Zhu Yan shrugged and smiled lightly. Don't say kneel, I can't even apologize. Yi Zan suddenly became angry and appeared in front of Zhu Yan in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, Zhu Yan immediately clenched his fist to fight. Boom. Their fists collided and it didn't last a second. Zhu Yan felt as if his arm was about to break. The body stepped back involuntarily. Thump, 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 and after retreating more than 10 steps, Zhu Yuan's body collided with a large tree. The large tree shook violently and the fallen leaves flew. But Yizan remained motionless. Shock. All the people looking around were scared. Although both of them transformed, Yizan was much stronger. Even King Pen shrank his neck in fear. It turned out that the former head of the Yi family was very strong. Dad. Are you okay? Zhu Ziyin, who was chatting with Zhu Ruang in the distance, hurriedly ran over and helped Zhu Yan. Zhu Yan shook his head, but now his entire arm was numb, completely unconscious, and he couldn't even make a fist. Yi Shen couldn't calm down when he saw this scene. They are both in the realm of transformation, but I didn't expect the gap to be so big. In this case, even if Men Chengsheng is added, he may not be an opponent. Oops. Yi Shen sighed secretly. He was still overconfident, thinking that with the transformation realm around him, he would be on the same level as Yizan. Indeed, how naive. Chapter 141 Grandmaster Yi Shen doesn't care about face as much as Yizan. He runs away if he can't beat him, leaving King Shen without worrying about not having firewood. The two transformed realms cannot defeat Yizan, and escape is always possible. Thinking of this, she was ready to wink at Fen Lin. But he found that Fen Lin at this moment took a handful of melon seeds from the dining table, sat on the armrest of Men Chengsheng's wheelchair, and nibbled on the melon seeds. There was no tension at all. Yi Shen's brain was racing, wondering what Fen Lin's intention was. Zhu Yan, kneel down and apologize. Yizan looked at Zhu Yan expressionlessly and continued. Kneel. Kneel before me. Yi Kai gradually regained consciousness with a sneer on his face. After finishing speaking, he didn't forget to look at King Pen and Wang Baqi in the distance. The two were so scared that everyone looked away. This situation makes Yi Kai very happy. What about the King family? Even if he is in the transformation realm, he has not been beaten to a pulp by his own grandfather yet. King Pen still has a little confidence. Wang Baqi is really deceived. He would have known that he was following Yi Kai. At this moment, Fen Lin, who was eating melon seeds, felt his phone vibrate. He took it out and took a look. Yan had found Yi Dan's whereabouts. Fen Lin shouted and ran towards Yi Shen. Everyone, stop for a moment and give me time to write a poem. Everyone around him was confused. At this critical moment, the atmosphere was frozen. Where did this child come from? Comes from. Wang King quickly pulled Zhu Chuan back, fearing that Fen Lin was involved. Fen Lin showed Yi Shen the message on his phone and then winked at Yan Yuebai. Okay. Let's continue. Fen Lin put away his phone and stepped back. Crazy. Get rid of this kid first. Yi Kai cursed angrily. He clearly wanted to kill Fen Lin, but he was still alive and well. Yi Kai felt like he had been insulted. Boom. Yi Kai's head slammed to the ground, blood flowed, and he fainted on the spot. If you look closely, you can see that there's a foot on the back of his head. Looking further up, there's a woman wearing black rimmed glasses. What's going on? When did that woman appear? No. I was looking at Yi Kai just now. How come there's someone else in the blink of an eye? Not only the onlookers around, but Yizan also looks on in horror. He didn't notice either. Yi Shen, have you forgotten me as your partner? Yan Yuebai pushed up his glasses and showed a slight smile. When Li Mihong saw this, she was about to push Yan Yuebai away. You are looking for death. Let go of my son. Before her hand touched Yan Yuebai, her body suddenly trembled, a mouthful of blood flowed out, and she fell down. Down. Another realm of transformation. Everyone around him felt like they were going crazy. It is understandable for a middle-aged man like Zhu Yan, but this time the key is that she is a young woman. Does it really cost money to transform? Yi Shen's eyes fell on Fen Lin again, he and Lim Chengsheng acting as spectators. He finally understood why Fen Lin had been so calm from beginning to end. Yizan. Hand over my mother. Yi Shen took a few steps forward and shouted loudly, otherwise, we will crush the Yi family. Ha ha ha. How ridiculous. Let me, an old man, destroy your family today. Arrogance. Yizan laughed angrily and jumped towards Yi Shen, causing cracks to appear on the ground with every step he took. Suddenly, Yizan quickly turned around and punched. Yan Yuebai dodged it easily and slapped Yizan's waist with the back of his hand. Yizan thought he had been hit hard and retreated violently. He looked at his body and found that nothing was wrong, so he sneered and prepared to continue attacking. Yan Yuebai smiled, snapped his fingers and said, Pow. Yizan, who had just taken a step forward, suddenly froze, and with a bang, a large mouthful of blood spurted out. His body suddenly bent and he knelt on the ground with a thud. This is, everyone who looked round held their breath, not daring to breathe. What happened? Did Yizhan's old injury relapse? He was fine, but even my blood. It's possible, this is it. Light and dark resonance. Resonance realm. Zhu Yuan's throat trembled in the distance and his voice trembled. As everything was quiet now, Zhu Yuan's words could be heard clearly in everyone's ears. Resonance. What the hell? There was an old businessman who had been in contact with Zhu Yuan several times and asked him respectfully, Mr. Zhu Yuan, what is light and dark resonance? This is a professional term for ancient warriors. For you, the resonance realm is the form of transformation. Above, also called Grandmaster. After Zhu Yuan's explanation, everyone was shocked. Grandmaster realm. These are the people who are at the top. If he were to transform and could claim to be a rich family in the province, then the Grandmaster would be the pride of all of China. It is rumored that Li Chen is the realm of Grandmaster. Contributions to the founding of China. I must be dreaming. I'm actually lucky enough to see a master in the kingdom. She's still very young. Who was this woman? A master in the realm is definitely not an unknown person. Yi Shen shuddered in his heart. In the master realm, he never dared to think about it. He couldn't help but look at Feng Lin in the distance. Who was he? Yan Yuebai was already at the master level, but Yi Shen just imagined him unrealistically. Yan Yuebai called Sikam Jin the fourth brother. Does that mean that Sikam Jin is stronger? They are Feng Lin's bodyguards and they call him boss. But Feng Lin, the boss, still wants to be called second master Men Changshen. Does this prove that Men Changshen is more powerful? More on that, because according to his knowledge, the Grandmaster was the pinnacle of legend. The corners of Zhu Yuan's mouth raised slightly, and judging from Yi Shen's expression, he didn't even know the strength of this woman. With glasses that proves that this woman is from Feng Lin. From a small incident earlier, Zhu Yuan guessed that Feng Lin was definitely not simple. I remember when Wei Yanzi went to his house, Feng Lin mentioned Jialand. This Tongtan organization, which even the masters feared, was nothing special in Feng Lin's words. The current Grandmaster Kingdom once again demonstrated their suspicions. Involuntarily, Zhu Yuan grabbed Zhu Ziyang's arm, trying to find a way to get Feng Lin to take his daughter away. In this case, he would have the capital to take revenge. Ha ha ha. Zhu Yuan, who are you scaring? This is not resonance at all. Yizhan sneered, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and stood up from the ground. This should be some kind of skill. Why do you have to deceive yourself? I think you know better than me, Zhu Yuan replied. The resonance of light and darkness can produce two powers in one fell swoop, namely bright power and dark power. The two forces will maintain a temporary balance and then they will explode. From the appearance, the most intuitive is the delayed attack. Of course, the power of the Master Realm does not end there. I don't believe it. Yizhan roared and rushed towards Yan Yuebai again. Girl to be at the master level. I would never believe it. Yan Yuebai raised his glasses slightly and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. The Grandmaster Realm is a unique ability. Bala. Chapter 142a. Sensational event. As soon as Yizhan's fist reached Yan Yuebai, he seemed to be blocked by an invisible barrier. Immediately afterwards, a sound similar to an electric current was heard. Bullet. Bullet. His fist instantly became bloody and was even exposed with white bones. Ah! Yizhan growled, holding his fists and taking a few steps back. Great teacher, without a doubt. The reason this state is called resonance, not resonance, is because the light and dark energy alternate with each other, resulting in a chirping sound. This sound is not magical, it is just the sound of air vibrating. Ordinary people can hold thin bamboo poles and wave them out of thin air. However, people at the master level rely on their own ki to produce energy by striking the air. Everyone in the Yi family looked pale. What they saw before them was beyond their imagination. This is the Grandmaster. Yi Tao finally understood what Yizhan said before. Yi Shen was like his mother. I wasn't absolutely sure and it definitely wouldn't show up. It turns out that this is an absolute certainty. Great Master. Yizhan. Don't force me anymore, hand over my mother. I'll leave immediately. Yi Shen couldn't help but shed tears, otherwise. I will destroy the Yi family now. Yizhan covered his blood. Right hand and sighed deeply, sighed, feeling as if he had aged more than 10 years. He stood up, his throat trembling slightly, and finally sighed. Follow me. Yi Shen clutched her fists, wiped away her tears, and followed him. Yan Yuebai also put his hands in his trouser pockets and left with Yi Shen. After a few people left, the originally silent surroundings immediately began to talk incessantly. The happiest person among them was Wei Qin. She grabbed Zhu Chuan excitedly and said, Husband. Feng Lin is so good at judging people. I just said that this woman Yishin is very powerful. Zhu Chuan rolled his eyes helplessly. The relationship between Fen Lin and Yishin seems to be real. It can be said that Fen Lin, who had no background, now has his own background. That's Yishin. Fen Lin felt that the matter was over. He suddenly remembered that there was something else and walked towards Zhu Boying. Have you forgotten why you came? Give me the things. Oh. Zhu Boying immediately reacted and took out a vacuum cleaner bag from her pocket. After catching it, Fen Lin picked it up and looked around. Beautiful sisters, all look this way. All of our skincare products are approved by the Grand Master. If anyone else had shouted like that, he would have woken up. Public outrage. But Fen Lin spoke to Yishin and the Grand Master just now, proving that they knew each other. Unknowingly, many people gathered around him. Sisters, let me first introduce you to our skincare products. They are all natural and contain no additives. In just one day, you will be 10 years younger and your acne will disappear. Stop. Fen Lin, what? What are you talking about? Acne in a day. Even if the acne goes away, there needs to be a recovery period for plastic surgery. Kim Peng scolded him angrily. Even if Yishin had the support of a teacher, he had nothing to do with Fen Lin. According to Ibaki, Fen Lin is simply Yishin's bully. He might not dare to do it in front of Yishin, but he could still talk to Fen Lin privately. It's true. It's the head of the Starlight Group who bought the ancient recipe at a high price. You can ask the master later. Yesterday I still had acne on my face, but today it disappeared. Fen Lin picked up the package and continued. A little person like me wouldn't dare make fun of the Grand Master. The people around him thought carefully and realized that what he said made sense. A middle-aged woman walked out of the crowd. He looked to be about 50 years old and the skin on his face was very rough and waxy yellow. Brother, do you think my face can be treated? She asked a little unsure. A noble woman like her had worked hard little by little while accompanying our husband. When I was young I didn't have money to support it. Now, although I have money, I'm getting older. Sister. There's no acne on your skin, it is just rough. It will be fine in half an hour. Fen Lin went to Zhu Boying. Zhu Boying understood and immediately opened the packaging bag and took out a high-end small brush. Stop. Fen Lin, who knows what your things are? Maybe it's chemical synthesis. Kim Peng said sharply. Wei Baqi was also quick to agree. Yes, many chemicals only look good one day, but start burning the skin the next day. When the lady heard this, she covered her face in fear and took a step back. Zhu Boying couldn't help but look at Fen Lin, who had said before that this kind of thing would become solid if exposed to air for a long time. There's no way to heat it here either. I can testify. This is a legendary ancient recipe. I heard that it was passed down from a family of ancient warriors. Zhu Yuan walked over with a calm expression. Gao family. Haha, with Mr. Zhu Yuan's testimony, I naturally believe it. The lady just came again. Zhu Yuan is a bit shot, there's no need to lie. Zhu Yuan showed a grateful smile to Zhu Yuan and applied the medicine here on the lady's face. After a while, the green liquid gradually solidified and turned into a black mask. Other women around him also gathered around, waiting silently to see the effect. Before I knew it, half an hour passed. Fen Lin nodded toward Zhu Boying. Zhu Boying stepped forward and followed Fen Lin's example before, removing the black substance. A miracle happened, the skin underneath seemed to be reborn. I dare not say that I am as delicate as a baby, but I am at least 10 or 20 years younger. Wrinkles and enlarged pores disappear. How is this possible? Damn. Wife, you've gotten younger. The people around him didn't have much hope, it was like a face mask at best. I didn't expect the effect to be so good. It's like a new person. Kim Peng and Wei Baqi were surprised, especially Wei Baqi, who touched the acne on his face and couldn't help but want to buy it. Brother. Do you have any more? Give me one. Look at the pimples on my face. Brother. Give me one. My wife is not here today. Everyone around him came closer. Most of them were a man asks for it for his wife. In fact, most successful businessmen cherish their wives, who share the joys and sorrows of their lives. Because his wife did not dislike him for not having money and preferred to endure difficulties with him. However, they rarely take their wives to business meetings, and to put it bluntly, they still find it embarrassing. If their wives are very beautiful, they would love to take them with them every day. Having this amazing skincare product is a blessing. Everyone, you just heard Mr. Zhu Yuan say that there are some rare and hard to find essences in this ancient recipe. We only have 10,000 copies this time. Fen Lin took a photo of Zhu Boying with a smile. Currently we only have this. There's only one part left. Little brother, I want this 100,000. Give it to my sister. Look at the acne on my face. I'm usually too embarrassed to show it to anyone. 200,000. I love it, little brother. You haven't seen my wife, she is my mother's age. 500,000. These businessmen are all rich owners. They generally buy luxury cars for their children, spending hundreds of thousands or millions. The key is of no use to them this time they can improve their wife's appearance, but they don't care about this little money. Zuroy and Jamu looked at each other and smiled, feeling ecstatic in their hearts. They knew that he would definitely be popular. Was about to speak when he found that Yilin pushed Men Chengsheng's wheelchair and walked quickly to the top of the mountain. Zhu Yuan asked in a low voice, Sir, who is it? Fen Lin smiled and explained, My second master, Men Chengsheng, is one of mine. It turns out to be the old man. Zhu Yuan nodded and asked, What happened? What's going on? A sensational event. Fen Lin quickened his pace and saw the top of the mountain from the distance, where Yan Yabai was waiting. Chapter 143 The Mystery of Yidan. No one can approach Yi's villa on the top of the mountain. This order has lasted more than 20 years. Under the leadership of Yan Yabai, Fen Lin and others entered the villa together. Fen Lin raised his head and looked towards the top floor of the villa. There was a huge skylight above, allowing the midday sun to shine directly. On the ground where the sun shines directly, there is a transparent glass with a hollow bottom, and on it there are many flowers and plants. Boss, here Yan Yabai pointed to the secret door on the wall next to him and entered first. Zhu Yuan's eyes trembled slightly and his guess was correct. He was obviously a senior at the Grandmaster realm, but he actually called Fen Lin boss. Fen Lin pushed his wheelchair and found that there were stairs leading down. He grabbed both sides of the wheelchair with both hands, easily lifted it and walked down the stairs. It's about 3 meters deep and that's it. Although it is below the floor of the villa, the upper part is covered with glass, allowing outside sunlight to enter, without feeling dark or humid. The area here is large, with bedrooms, living rooms, kitchens and bathrooms. There were several people sitting on the couch in the distance. Yan was bandaging Yizan's wounds, while Yishen sat on the other side with a surprised expression. In front of them was a woman dressed in a white skirt, about 20 years old. He looked only 1 or 2 years older than Tang Qian. Long black hair, a palm-sized face, and very deep eyes, just like Yishen. Fen Lin pushed the wheelchair and asked, Yishen, is it possible? Yes, she is my mother, Yidan. Yishen pointed to the woman in front of her. That. Men Chengsheng and Zhu Yuan's pupils suddenly shrank, looking at the woman in front of them. Yishen is currently 30 years old. Even if your mother had given birth to her when she was 18, she would still be almost 50 years old. It is understandable to take good care of him, but Yidan's cheeks and skin have nothing to do with maintenance. It looks like a skin that has just shed its childishness. Fen Lin was not too surprised because Lao Qi had already told him this when he sent the message just now. However, he still couldn't believe it when he actually saw the person in front of him. Shit. This is really shit. Men Chengsheng couldn't help but touch his chin. Aging was something everyone feared, but the person in front of him actually broke the rules. Mom. Why don't you tell me what's going on? Yishen shed tears, grabbed Yidan's hand and cried. I really don't know. I have forgotten many of my previous memories and can't remember them. Yidan's voice was also that of a young man. That's why I imprisoned her. This situation is too dire. If word gets out, not to mention those evil and powerful organizations, even the country will have to study it. Yizan's right hand was bandaged and he stood up and said, In total, he has been under house arrest here for 20 years. Yishen was still in the Yi family when she was almost 10 years old. Yizan didn't pay attention to him before, but his son Yi Tao's involuntary words later caught his attention. Yi Tao said that Yidan is almost 30 years old and still looks like a little girl. Only then did Yizan realize that something was wrong with Yidan. He also took blood from Yidan and had it analyzed, but there was no difference between it and normal people's blood. Boy, go take a look. Men Chengsheng looked at Fen Lin. Fen Lin walked over, sat next to Yidan, and grabbed her wrist. Yan next to her was extremely surprised. Fen Lin is a doctor. Stop checking. I did everything I could 20 years ago, let alone a kid like you, Yizan said with an indifferent expression. Second master, something is wrong with your meridians. As soon as Fen Lin finished speaking, he took out a silver needle from his belt and pierced the back of his neck. What are you doing? When Yizan saw this, he immediately ran over. Just look. Yan Yabai grabbed Yizan's shoulder and slacked him. When Yan saw this, he was so shocked that he couldn't speak. He already knew from his grandfather that the other party had a master level. He didn't expect this woman to be at the master realm. Fen Lin shook the end of the silver needle and it began to shake violently. Yi Dan's face suddenly became ugly. Yi Shen's heart was also tight. Brush. Fen Lin suddenly took out the silver needle, and the tip of the original silver needle turned golden. Everyone around is looking at the silver needle. What's going on? Fen Lin approached Men Changsheng and handed him the silver needle. Things are getting interesting. Men Changsheng wiped the tip of the needle with his finger and the golden color disappeared, not even in his hand. The golden color seemed to disappear out of thin air. Fen Lin smiled and took the silver needle in his hand, looked at the tip, and said with a smile, Yi Shen, have you forgotten the purpose of this time, which is to take it away? No. Yi Shen, I want you to understand. I'm doing this to protect her. Yi Zan immediately stopped him. Yi Shen's face was a little ugly. She lowered her head and said in a low voice, Mr. Fen Lin, you won't be harmful to my mother, right? Yi Zan and Yi Yang were shocked at the same time. Especially Yi Yang. He used to think that Fen Lin was just Yi Shen's bully, but now he understands. It turns out that Fen Lin is the boss behind the scenes. No, I am an honest person. I'm just a little interested, that's all. Fen Lin smiled and shook his head, pushing Men Changsheng's wheelchair around the corner. What's more, you don't have the right to choose. Yi Shen, my boss is really honest and gentle with beautiful women, Yan Yuibai explained from the side, and suddenly, he felt something was wrong. What's so gentle? This woman is Yi Shen's mother. Yi Zan and Yi Yan they looked and it turned out that this grandmaster level belonged to Fen Lin. By the way, remember to keep my affair secret. After Fen Lin finished speaking, he pushed the wheelchair and left Zhu Yang closely followed Fen Lin. I'll go with you. I've been putting up with it here. It's very uncomfortable. Yi Dan stood up with a smile. Fen Lin and others walked down the mountain road. He has no hidden injuries and is in very good health. I don't think she has lost her memory. Fen Lin said softly after walking away. Zhu Yan asked in a deep voice, Sir, do you mean she deliberately hid it? Yes, there are things I have never seen before. Second Master, you must have heard about that, right? Fen Lin stopped and asked. Men Changsheng laughed sarcastically. I don't know, I'm just interested in knowing when I can be younger. I'm going to avenge this leg. Halfway up the mountain plaza, Zhuang and Zhamu were still surrounded by the group of people. Zhuang also promised everyone that she would be ready to make it public in just these 2 days. However, these people were afraid that they would not be able to grab it, so they put their bank cards in Zhuang's hands in advance and said it was a deposit. Fen Lin didn't bother them either. Sir, it seems that today's charity auction of Yi's house cannot be held. I'm going to Zhu's house for a drink. Are you coming? Zhu Yan and Zhu's Yi's are old friends and they came here for only 2 purposes. First, give Fen Lin a surprise and tell him that he has entered the transformation realm. The second is to chat with Zhu Zize. Although the Jiang City and Yan City are very close, they don't usually see each other. Fen Lin smiled and said, I'll go after finishing my affairs around me. Okay. Zhu Yan nodded, then stepped forward and grabbed Zhu Ziying, ready to go together. However, Zhu Ziying said that he wanted to be with Zhu Rong, so Zhu Yan didn't care and ran first. Haha. Shaolin, I didn't expect you and Mr. Zhu Yan to have such a good relationship. Wang King walked over with a smile on his face, giving people the feeling of a good wife and loving mother. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 144 Jiangani Land. Fen Lin turned around, looked at Wang King who was nearby, and said in a strange voice, the relationship is not that good either. Haha, Fen Lin, I admit that I looked down on you at first, but since you risked your life to save my daughter, I think Zhang is lucky to marry you. Wang King is shameless. Fen Lin is not an ordinary person now. He has a good relationship with Zhu Yan and Yi Shen. The key is that there is a great master behind Yi Shen. This kind of person has a bright future. He felt that he seemed to have seen the light and could take his daughter back to his parents' house in glory in the next few years. At this time, Fen Lin's cell phone vibrated. He took it out and looked at it. Yi Shen had already picked up his mother, but by the side door. Playing, I have something else to do, Fen Lin said casually and pushed the wheelchair. Coming down the mountain, Men Changsheng asked with a smile, let me guess, your daughter is the big girl. Nonsense. I didn't learn it from you. Fen Lin rolled her eyes. In fact, when she was young, she was more inclined towards Lolly. She is the kind of pretty girl with a sweet and cute appearance and a flat figure. But Men Cheng always told him as instilled the idea that no matter how difficult it is, the child cannot be tortured. A woman with a good figure is a real woman. Fen Lin resisted a little at first. Later, and he smelled so good. Yi Bai and Yi Shen returned first, and Fen Lin also opened the back door and put Men Cheng in the back along with his wheelchair. He drove to the Narcissus clubhouse. First floor bar. Of course, there was still not a single customer left in the bar. Fen Lin pushed the wheelchair into the hallway. Fen Lin, Yi Shen called with a smile. Let's talk upstairs. Fen Lin pushed Men Cheng's wheelchair into the elevator. Yi Grandview Garden and looking at everything around. When they reached the 9th floor, Yan Yubai jumped up first and took off his wig and glasses. Boss, let me see if the fourth brother is awake. Fen Lin nodded and went to the cafeteria with Yi the coffee. Ah. Young City has really changed a lot in these years. Yi Dan smiled and pinched Yi Shen's face. You have changed even more. Yi Shen sighed. I never thought I would be better than my mother. You're still old. Well, Andy, there are no outsiders here now, what can you say? Fen Lin crossed his legs and held the back of his head with his hands. I know you haven't lost your, and he was still smiling. Dad suppressed his smile and said, but I can't really remember. I didn't expect you to tell me right away. After all, you've been imprisoned for decades and you haven't. I didn't tell anyone. Fen Lin spread his hands, expressionless. He said, you know, the only one who can help you is me. Yi Dan smiled and said, I really can't remember, otherwise I would have told you. You, who would want to be under house arrest for decades. I know you. There are difficulties. For example, as a mother, you allowed your daughter to be bullied but you did nothing. You saw Yi Shen being kicked out of the house. Fen Lin said this. In the distance, Men Cheng, who was drinking, also turned sideways and looked here. Yi Dan's expression suddenly changed and he asked, is it someone from the Yi family who was chasing her? Is it worth mentioning the Yi family's apes that can be killed with just a few hits? Fen Lin pursed his lips. Disdainfully, kill her. This is the land of the 9 netherworlds. Yi Dan's pupils suddenly shrank. I'm very curious, who is the eye stained by the life of a woman like Yi Shen? Why do you want to kill a woman who has no strength in the land of Jiao? Fen Lin touched his chin, turned around and left after speaking, Second Master, I will go back first. Fen Lin patted Men Cheng on the shoulder and entered the elevator. Attack the heart. This is often used when interrogating prisoners. Fen Lin wanted to see how long he could hold out. After Fen Lin arrived here, Zhu Zizai and Su Yan were drinking in the courtyard. Fen Lin quickly stood up and waved. Mr. Fen Lin, sit down quickly, the wine is ready for you. I just realized that Mr. Fen Lin is Zhu Yan's benefactor, so naturally he is also my benefactor. Zhu Zizai smiled, raised his glass and toasted first. You're welcome. Fen Lin sat down. He didn't come here to drink this time. He had a drink with him and asked Zhu Zizai, you're also an elder in Yun City. I want to know about the Yi family. She has quite a high profile in Yun City. Everyone knows that Yi Kai is a prodigal and Yi Yan is the eldest sister of a group of rich second-generation women. Zhu Zizai needed some strange explanations. When she was chatting with Zhu Yan just now, he already had a rough idea of what happened in the Yi family. Fen Lin is a master level around him, so he only needs to ask the Yi family. Why should he ask himself, a stranger? Haha, I'm just asking casually. I'm here to tell you some news. A big shot from Jia Land is coming to Yun City, Fen Lin said with a smile, 18 Disha. What? Disha? Zhu Zizai stood up in fright, not expecting the ultimate combat power of Jiu Netherland. There are 72 in total. Earth Evil. Zhu Yan had only heard of the name of Jia Land and did not know a lot about it. Zhu Zizai asked with a smile. Old Zhu, do you know Yangang? Of course I know. This is the Chinese Hidden Legion, the European Vatican, etc. The authority of the world's ancient warriors, the combat power ranking. Zhu Yan nodded. Yangang is also called Yangan too. There are 36 people in total. The European Holy See translates it as 36 divine generals. These people are extremely powerful and are the strongest fighting force to maintain the balance of the ancient warrior world. Mr. Fen Lin is a member of the Secret Legion, so I should know better, right? For example, our Chinas know. One Death Knight, Death Doctor ranks second on the list, and is also that person at the top of the list in China. Zhu Zizai looked at Fen Lin with a smile, closely followed by the third Yangan, the number 2 of the Dead Knight, the Dead Dream. When Zhu Yan was chatting before, he also heard that Zhu Zizai said that Fen Lin was a member of the country. However, he felt that Fen Lin's early characters should belong to those reclusive families that cooperated with the country. Fen Lin smiled and nodded. Of course I have heard of it, they are all famous people. No one knows Jiang Guntu better than Fen Lin. To put it bluntly, it is just a superficial classification. For example, his second master, Fen Lin, have never seen Men Qingshan use his full strength. Although he is older now, Fen Lin feels that he is no match if his life is really at stake. Of course, China also has a mysterious department called Wujian. That is where China's ultimate combat power lies. However, only the person involved, Fen Lin, knew about this kind of thing, and no outsiders knew about it. In the eyes of ordinary ancient warriors, Dr. Doom is a legend. Zhu Yuan looked surprised and suddenly asked, Old Zhu, is it possible that the earthly demons of the Nine Nevers are trying to compete with Jianging? Yes. The purpose of the Nine Nevers is to subvert the world. Since you have 36 Yangans, then we will have 72 Disha. Zhu's Izai nodded with a smile and continued. Their sect leader is not among them. Chapter 145 I laugh at you for pretending. Zhu Yuan looked confused. Is the sect master not among them? Well, Disha does not include the sect master. The sect masters are all arrogant people. How could they join Disha? Don't you feel inferior to others? Zhu's Izai explained with a smile. I see, that is, in addition to the sect leader, the person with the 18th combat power in Jialand will come to Yan City. Zhu Yuan's face also became serious. Maybe something big is going to happen. Here. Although I have enmity with Jialand, with my strength, I still won't join in the fun. Zhu's Izai shook his head with a smile, looked at Fen Lin and asked, Sir, now that you have received the news. I don't know. I only have a cooperative relationship with a country. You definitely won't tell me such secret things. Fen Lin shook his head with a smile and said, This matter has not been reported yet. Once it's over, it's best to report it, although you also know that higher-ups will definitely tell you to take care of the matter. After drinking several bottles of white wine with him here, Fen Lin prepared to return. He simply sat in the driver's seat and drove a short distance before remembering that he was driving drunk. This time he drank a lot and was a little drunk. Forget it, in normal times, be a good and law-abiding citizen. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and flipped through his address book. Zhuan should be busy, so there's no need to bother the 4th and 7th with such a small matter. So he sent a message to Zhao King. Anyway, the work didn't start now and she asked him to help her drive a car. After a while, Zhao King appeared in the distance and hurriedly trotted over. Fen Lin, have you been drinking? Zhao King, who was wearing a beige dress today, asked while lying on the window. Well, I just had a drink with my friends. I'll leave it to you. Take me to Zhuan's villa. Fen Lin sat in the passenger seat and smiled at Zhao King. Okay, Zhao King sat nervously in the driver's seat, adjusted the seat, and murmured, First release the handbrake, step on the clutch, and shift into first gear. The car suddenly flew away. Fen Lin was shocked and hurriedly said, Pull on the brakes. All right. Zhao King slammed the brakes all the way. Duh. The strong inertia made Zhao King lean forward suddenly. Only then did she realize that she was too nervous and forgot to fasten her seatbelt. Brush. He thought he would hit his head, but his body suddenly stopped. Fen Lin's arm was in front of her, just in time to stop her. Zhao King originally wanted to say thank you, but found that Fen Lin's hand was right in front of her and her face was so red that water was dripping from her face. I'm sorry, I was trying to save you just now, so I didn't pay attention. Fen Lin stopped his hand and said in his heart, This is too peaceful. There is a big difference from Zhuoying. Not well. Zhao King lowered her head and whispered, I'm sorry, Fen Lin, I haven't touched a car since I passed the driver's license exam. She was still in college when she took the exam. After her driver's license test and her father was still working, she earned thousands of dollars herself doing odd jobs for several semesters. At first he wanted to support the family, but his father told him that he should take the driver's license test, which sooner or later he would need. Since taking his driver's license test, he hasn't touched a car even once. Okay, I'll find a driver. Fen Lin patted Zhao King's shoulder. Zhao King took the initiative to get out of the car and was about to sit in the back, but suddenly heard someone calling her. Is it Zhao King? Fen Lin also opened the car window strangely and looked outside. A couple walked in from afar, still dressed as a couple. The woman who spoke was the woman with dyed blonde hair and average appearance. The man next to him is fat and wears glasses. Is that Zhao King? I'm Liu An, have you forgotten? We are in the same class in college. The blonde woman approached and smiled. Oh. It's you. Zhao King nodded. What are you doing? Liu An asked. Hello, King and I just had a few drinks and we're going to find a driver to go home. Fen Lin got out of the car, stood next to Zhao King and said. The smell of Fen Lin's liquor reached their nostrils, making them mistakenly think that Zhao King had also drunk. Zhao King couldn't help but look at Fen Lin, who was helping her every step of the way. This time it was said that everyone was drunk and therefore could not drive. Ha ha ha. My husband and I are fine, let me take you back. Liu An smiled and hugged the man next to him. That's right. Thank you, Fen Lin nodded. Honey, can you drive such a broken car? Liu An asked. After all, we all drive automatic transmissions. Fen Lin immediately stopped smiling. At first he thought that Zhao King's friend was not bad, but he didn't expect him to be this kind of person. Obviously it is a new car. Drive slowly and get familiar with it, the man smiled and sat in the driver's seat. Zhao King looked at Fen Lin with a little nervousness. Fen Lin smiled and nodded his eyebrows. Get in the car. King, is this your boyfriend? Liu An, who was sitting in the front row, turned around and asked. Well, I'm King's boyfriend. Fen Lin nodded. What? Your business recently went bankrupt. How can you drive a car like this? Liu An asked with a disdainful smile. Fen Lin didn't care and said with a smile. I'm not broke. I like this kind of magic car. PFFT. You really know how to joke. Liu An laughed. King, right. Do you regret it now? I said it back then, I asked you to accept the pursuit of the rich second generation, and you scolded me and said I was not enough of a friend. Zhao King kept her head down and said nothing. Back then, Liu An was bribed by a rich second generation to lie about his birthday and take Zhao King to sing at a KTV. Zhao King originally wanted to leave, but because of Liu An, he still sat down. During this period, Liu An drank a lot of wine and then took advantage. The opportunity to leave and give a rich second generation a separate space with her. Zhao King immediately ran away and then broke up with her. Fortunately, he was careful and did not get completely drunk, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. I regret it. Zhao King looked at Fen Lin and said in a clear voice. Stop pretending, don't you regret it? Why don't we ever see you at class meetings? Gives you no shame. Admit it, I'm not ashamed of driving such a bad car, Liu Anxiang said, looking at his man. We've changed, we're in the Audi. Haha, buddy, where did you say you were going? The husband asked the Onai Villa area in the Eastern District, Fen Lin reminded, PFFT. When Liu An heard this, Fen Lin frowned strangely. Why? Why are you laughing? I'm laughing at you for pretending. If you don't have money, work hard. If you park in the villa area, will you get a villa? Yuan's voice was a little disdainful, she didn't like this kind of familiar thing. She used to be the same, very low self-esteem. When she was in college in City, had two friends from the same hometown and they always took the same bus. She wanted to prevent her two friends from knowing that she lived in a rural area near the county seat. They would get off the bus in front of a high-end community in the county capital, and then they would walk a few kilometers home. She felt that Fen Lin was the same. In order not to look too ugly, she specifically mentioned the villa to make them mistakenly think that Fen Lin and Zhao King lived in a villa. We laugh at you, but when you brag, you have to be realistic. Don't you think it's uncomfortable for Ling Feng to enter the villa area? Liu An's boyfriend also said. Chapter 146 The Strange Atmosphere. Fen Lin did not expect them to be so sensitive. He just casually mentioned the location and they were able to bond a lot. But I really live there, Fen Lin explained with a smile. Hey, brother, I know you want to save face, but you can't have the dream. Okay, husband, just say a few words. Since we were asked to drive there, we can go. Yuan and her boyfriend sang and teased her secretly. Fen Lin and Zhao King looked at each other, and Zhao King lowered her head in shame. She also felt a little embarrassed. The classmate she knew laughed at her, but she didn't expect Fen Lin to be affected. There was a brief silence throughout the car. Liu An couldn't let this opportunity pass. She only hated Zhao King, and it was obviously thanks to Zhao King that she created opportunities for the rich second generation. Zhao King was not only ungrateful, but also talked nonsense to her in class the next day. As a result, he was unable to hold his head up for several years after college. Haha. King, since you live in the villa area, I would like to ask you how much you paid for it. When we earn a few years of money, we will move there. Liu An turned around with a smile. Not much, more than 8 million, Fen Lin heard Zhu Ruang say that it was about this price. Hectares. Liu An covered his mouth and laughed again, his body trembling. Brother, 8 million is not much, right? I have learned a lot. Fen Lin's face also darkened and he said a little sarcastically. He just thought it was farthing. The key is that this woman seems to be addicted. It's really not much. It seems like you don't know enough. Fen Lin put his arm around Zhao Qing's shoulders and smiled slightly. Hey, forget it, as long as you are happy. Liu An sighed. People are afraid of losing their faces and trees are afraid of losing their skin. If you encounter such a shameless person, there is nothing you can do. A few minutes later, the car finally arrived at the gate of the villa. Liu An's boyfriend pushed up his glasses, turned around and said, "Brother, we are here." "Just come in," Fen Lin told him. Haha, he smiled again and explained. "Brother, let me give you some knowledge. In this kind of villa area, vehicles need passes. Ordinary people's cars can't enter. I know, yours. The little Audi shouldn't be getting, but my car can." When Fen Lin bought the car, he specifically asked Zhu Ruoying to apply for a pass for him. "Won't you turn around? Until you hit the wall." Liu An's boyfriend pursed his lips in disdain, stepped on the accelerator and drove towards the door of the villa. The security guard at the door presses the switch, and the automatic guardrail rises, opening. Liu An was waiting to ridicule him when she suddenly noticed that the guardrail was raised. She didn't forget to look ahead and found that there were no other cars in front of her, only theirs. "Do you move? It's impolite to stop you here." Fen Lin looked at the two of them expressionlessly. Suddenly, the two of them felt red and embarrassed. Suddenly, Liu An's eyes lit up and he said with a smile, "You should be a company of moving or cleaning, right?" "It's true. Why didn't I think of that? The cleaning people will have temporary passes." Liu An's friend also nodded and drove inside the villa. King, your classmate is really interesting." Fen Lin laughed sinisterly and then said something with great emotional intelligence. "If you think being a cleaner will make you look good, then I will do it you." Liu An felt her face burning, making her temporarily unable to think, and she didn't know what to say. "By the way, turn around. To the right and drive to the end," Fen Lin reminded. Liu An's boyfriend remained silent and drove to the end. Fen Lin found 3 cars parked in front of Zhu Ruoying's villa, and a Mercedes-Benz S belonged to Zhu Ruoying. A Haval H6 is Zhamu's car to get around. There was also a white BMW 5 Series with Jiangxi brand. I remember it was Zhu Ziyang's car. "Just park here." Fen Lin pointed to the parking space next to it. After the car stopped, Fen Lin and others got out of the car. Fen Lin first came to the door of the villa, pressed his fingerprint, and the door opened automatically. Seeing this, Liu An and her boyfriend were confused. Even if it's a cleaning job, the most you can do is give him a spare key. How are they going to ask you to take fingerprints? Fen Lin looked at the two bored people and said something with great emotional intelligence. Haha. This villa is too big and takes a long time to clean, so the head of the family simply asked me to register the fingerprints. No fool can tell Fen Lin the meaning behind the words. By the way, you sent us here and we have to take a taxi back. I will definitely refund this money to you. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone, walked towards the two of them, and deliberately opened the mobile banking, revealing the more than 20 million it contains. Ah. Why do I have 20 million here? Oh, I remembered. The head of this family has too much cash and it is inconvenient to clean it up, so it is temporarily stored in my place. Feng's Yun and Yang or Lincoln, it can be said that it displayed to the extreme. Liu An and her boyfriend's faces were red, as if they had been slapped several times, and they wanted to find a crack in the ground and climb into it. There are fingerprints in the villa that can hardly be explained. But the 20 million in mobile banking is definitely not fake. In addition, there are cars parked in front of the villa, such as Mercedes-Benz S and BMW 5 Series. All of them are luxury cars. This shows that they have a car, but they just don't drive it. Ha ha ha. No need to transfer money, sir. Sister King, we were just joking. We had something to do in the Eastern District. Let's go first. Liu An smiled flatteringly and immediately grabbed her boyfriend and left. I remember that there are still empty villas in the community, don't you want to buy them? I will greet the person in charge here and we will go there now. Fen Lin shouted at the backs of the two of them. Haha. No need, this place is a bit far from where we work. Liu An smiled and turned around, then with a dark face, he immediately pulled his man, as if he was fleeing. TCH. Play with me. Fen Lin curled his lips and said to Zhao King, come in and sit. This is not good. Zhao King lowered her head nervously. Fen Lin had fingerprints here. Does it mean that Zhu Ruoying agrees to Fen Lin's search and that the two are already living together? So they are a couple. If I tangle with Fen Lin again, wouldn't I just be a mistress? Come in as soon as they ask you. Fen Lin took Zhao King's hand and walked towards the villa. Just when he opened the door, he saw Zhu Ruang holding a can of beer and saying dizzily, "Come on. Keep drinking." Shamu and Zhu Ziang were lying on a sofa next to them. Their faces were all crimson and they smelled of alcohol. Haha. Fen Lin, you are finally here. Come and have a drink. Our company will be prosperous. Zhu Ruang took another sip into her mouth and spit it out with a vomiting sound. Then she too fell onto the couch. Fen Lin looked at the cans on the ground and shook his head slightly. These women were pretty good at drinking. Suddenly, Fen Lin seemed to have thought of something. He looked at Zhao King with a solemn expression. King, you go back first and let me clean up here. Yui Zhao King's face suddenly turned red and asked, in a low voice, are you going to do something back to them? Chapter 147 Taking Advantage of Others' Danger. King, what do you mean? Am I this kind of person in your heart? Fen Lin asked coldly. He just wanted to take these people to the room and change Zhu Ruang's clothes. After all, she had mimiced all over her body. Obviously, this is a small, heartwarming gesture of affection toward a friend. But then again, two of the three people in front of him are his fiancés. There is also Zhu Ziang. Her father is eager for her to marry him, so there's nothing wrong with having proper contact. Mr. Zhu is your girlfriend. I'll leave her to you. I'll help the other two. Zhao King mustered up her courage and said to Fen Lin. Fen Lin couldn't help but laugh. A woman like Zhao King was quite good when she was serious. His toughness is different from Zhu Ruang. Zhu Ruang's harshness is full of domineering, and the subtext is that you must listen to me. Her harshness makes people feel sorry for Zhou Jibiu, which makes people unable to bear rejection. What happens if he starts crying? King, what I'm most worried about is that you're in trouble. You see that Zhu Ruang is so big, can you bear her weight? Fen Lin asked with a smile. Zhao King rolled her eyes, of course I can. Mr. Zhu is not serious at all. Then I'm sorry, I'll leave these three people to you. Zhao King was here and Fen Lin was not. Don't bother making small movements. He first raised his head and looked at the camera above, pointing at Zhao King who was starting to work. Prove your innocence to avoid slandering you when the time comes. Zhao King first helped Zhu Ruang and took her to the bathroom to help her clean up. Fen Lin also started to sort out the cans here. After working for about 10 minutes, Fen Lin finally cleaned up the living room. Zhao King also helped the three of them to the bedroom. One after another, but they took off their shoes and coats and covered them with quilts. King, come and have something to drink. Fen Lin took out a drink from the refrigerator and greeted Zhao King who was coming downstairs. Thank you Zhao King. He was also a little tired and sat on the sofa to rest. Fen Lin looked at Zhao King's cheek and sighed softly. He was obviously at his best and kind-hearted, but he was orphaned. God, it's so unfair sometimes. Zhao King stayed here, a little reserved. After finishing the drink, he stood up and said, Fen Lin, if nothing happens, I will leave first. I'll give you the money for the taxi. I can. I won't let you run for 2 days in vain. Come. Fen Lin took out his wallet from his pocket. No need, Mr. Zhu said that if the product is successful this time, he will give me a big red envelope. After Zhao King finished speaking, he shook his head and left. Fen Lin and Zhao King left together and watched her get into a taxi. Back at the villa, Fen Lin lay back on the sofa, closed his eyes and thought. What the hell is the earthly evil doing here in the Nine Netherlands? Is there something strange in Cloud City? Suddenly, Fen Lin thought of something. Chen Yang, the man who remembered Wei Yangzi, said that the superiors wanted to kill Yi Xin. In comparison, Quickun of the King family has entered the transformation realm and his status is definitely much higher than Chen Yan. It seems that we need to take some time to get the news about Yi Xin from Quickun. Shamu woke up quietly in the bedroom upstairs, rubbed his temples, and felt that his head was still dizzy. She turned slightly to the side and saw Zhu Ruang in front of her. He wanted to check the time on his phone, but found that his clothes had been taken away. At first she didn't care and got up to look for her clothes, but since she brought the cup with her, Zhu Ruang and Zhu Ziang gradually woke up. Ah. My head is a little dizzy. Zhu Ruang covered her head, looked around, and found Shamu next to her. She smiled and said, Thank you very much for taking me. Did you forget? I was lying down a long time ago. We're sleeping on a sofa, didn't you help us get in? Shamu asked strangely. I didn't. Ying, were you the one who helped us get in? Zhu Ruang asked, rubbing her eyes. I was the one who helped us get in. The first to faint. Because Zhu Ziang had a heart injury, her father forbade her to drink. Today was the first time I drank a lot of alcohol. I wasn't used to it, so I was the first to go to bed. What? It's not you and it's not me. Zhu Wang looked at her clothes and remembered that she was originally wearing a uniform, but now it was a skirt. Someone had changed their clothes, compared to her, Zhu Ziyang and Zhamu when they took off their coats. The three people's expressions changed at the same time. They immediately put on their clothes and quietly opened the door. From the space between the railings on the second floor, I saw Fen Lin lying on a sofa, resting with his eyes closed. They looked and I looked at you, their faces turned red, and then they became angry. They didn't believe that Fen Lin didn't secretly touch them when she took off her clothes. The most angry among them was Zhu Wang. Fen Lin had said to her secretly while changing. Thinking of this, Zhu Wang's eyes could burst into flames. Fen Lin. Meters from the sofa and hit Fen Lin in the stomach with an elbow. Shit. Fen Lin gasped. Before he could react, Zhu Wang bit Fen Lin's shoulder. What are you doing? Fen Lin held Zhu Wang's head with both hands, trying to push her away. Sisters, come and help. Zhu Wang was Fen Lin's opponent, her body was being pushed by him. When Zhamu saw this, he also jumped up and pressed Zhu Wang's body. Shit. Fen Lin shouted again from below. Zhu Ziyang also jumped up and added almost another 100 kilograms to Fen Lin. Were you crazy? Fen Lin was pressed at the bottom and couldn't help but scream. You are shameless. You are a piece of trash who takes advantage of others. I misjudged you. Zhu Wang was so embarrassed that she shed tears. Fen Lin really did such a thing to him. How could I see someone in the future? Fen Lin, what exactly did you do to us? Zhamu asked. Dirty. Even if it's just one person, you attack the three of us together. Zhu Ziyang also shouted. Fen Lin roughly understood that it was Zhao King who took off her clothes when she helped them up. Mainly, Fen Lin didn't follow the stairs and didn't know it. Haha, what did I do to you? You should all know it in your hearts. Fen Lin smiled lightly, and then turned to the side suddenly, letting the three people above him fall on the carpet next to him. The three fell to pieces. You. Zhu Wang got up from the ground, wiped away her tears, and said, Fen Lin, I misjudged you. Get out of here. I don't want to see you again. I didn't expect you to be a villain. I thought you were in vain. He is a gentleman. In Zhamu's mind, he had roughly guessed what Fen Lin had done to him, and he even felt some pain in his legs. I finally see through your character. Zhu Ziyang's eyes turned slightly red as thinking about the plot for an hour. Fen Lin's him was about to defend himself, but he suddenly took out his cell phone, looked at it, and said to a few people, well, I'm not interested in you guys anymore, so let's go. That, he left. Zhu Wang and the other three people sat on the sofa, wiping away their tears. Out of here. You really think I'm one of those stinky women on TV who will fall in love with you if you sleep with me? Trash. Zhu Wang choked as she spoke. Fen Lin had raped her bottom line. Men who take advantage of others are shameful. Fen Lin didn't care, they always looked at the camera. Even if you don't look at the camera, you will simply break off the engagement with 2 fiancés and a concubine. Chapter 148 He is gone. Fen Lin drove to the 7th floor of the Narcissus Club. The 3 people from Dead Night have already gathered here. Yan Yubai saw Fen Lin coming and said with a smile, Boss, Quickun just asked the head of the King family to prepare a villa in the suburbs. After saying that, Yan Yubai handed Fen Lin a cell phone, which showed the filming location. At least, I should be prepared for Disha. Fen Lin handed the phone back to Yan Yubai, leaning on the chair and thinking deeply. After pondering for a moment, Fen Lin suddenly stood up and said, Fourth brother, put makeup on me. It's the same makeup we went to King's house last time. Should I use it? Sikong asked in a low voice. No need. Si Jin's status is relatively noble right now. If you appear again, maybe Quickun will give information about you to Disha. Fen Lin shook his head slightly. The secret might be exposed by then, and it would be more convenient for him to go alone. Sikong Jin nodded and brought Fen Lin to his side. Walking out of here, Fen Lin saw Yishin's and Yi Dan sitting together and chatting. To outsiders, the two seemed to be Yishin's mother. Yishin, prepare a photo for me of you when you were about 10 years old. Fen Lin remembered that the photo Cheng Yan took was of a teenager. As Mr. Fen Lin of a special hobby. Yi Dan asked half-jokingly, roughly noting what happened to Fen Lin from Yishin. You're thinking too much. When Jia Lan wanted to kill Yishin, she took a photo of her when she was about 10 years old. And he can remember what happened at that time. Put on makeup. Yi Dan's smile gradually faded, as if he was remembering what happened in the past. After a while, Fen Lin reappeared. He put on a human skin mask, put on a big beard, and put on a suit. If Sikong Jin wasn't following them, Yishin and Yi Dan really wouldn't dare to recognize them. Here, this is a photo of me from back then. I remember it was taken at Yi's house. Yi Shen deliberately took out a photo from a book. At this time, Yi Shen was still very immature, with short hair like a man's and her eyes were very big, with a feeling of pity in them. Well, it's very similar. Fen Lin put away the photo. Yi Dan asked with a smile, "Sir, what are you going to do?" "I use this identity to befriend a person from Jiaworth. I want to ask him why he wanted to kill this child." Fen Lin gently held her hand falling on Yi Dan's shoulder. "I also told Auntie in advance that Jialan should not be disturbed. In order to survive, she should give up Yi Shen. I have no obligation to protect her." After saying that, Fen Lin left here. The three of them all had expressionless faces, let alone smiles. I remember those who were married saying that the first time for a woman is always very painful. Why didn't I feel it? Zhu Ziyang has seen this kind of thing often. Due to his condition, apart from treatment, he has almost no symptoms. Walk through the door. After living at home for so many years, I have been more exposed to the internet, and I often collect some strange knowledge on the internet. What's more, when he was treating patients before, Fen Lin had already taken advantage of him, so he didn't care too much. He probably didn't take the last step, he just kissed us all over, Zhu Wang said coldly. Look at the camera. As a police officer, Shamu always thought of the camera immediately when investigating and collecting evidence. Is it on? It's on, but I didn't install a pinhole camera in his new villa. That, Fen Lin probably attacked us in the room and we can't see anything from here. Even so, Zhu Wang still took the laptop from the counter in the distance and connected it to the surveillance screen. Fast forward, the scene reached a state where several people were drunk. Zhu Wang quickly moved forward bit by bit. Shamu and Zhu Ziyang poked their heads out and watched carefully. Suddenly, Zhu Wang stood up dizzily and raised her beer towards the door. Immediately afterwards, Fen Lin and Zhao Qingqing appeared on the surveillance screen together. Seeing Zhao Qingqing, the three people in front of the screen seemed surprised. There are women. The scene continued. Zhu Wang mimicked everywhere and fell on the sofa. Zhao Qingqing then helped Zhu Wang and went to the bathroom. Fen Lin also pointed at the camera and pointed at Zhao Qingqing, as if to prove his innocence. Seeing this, the three of them stared at each other. Zhu Wang seemed to have guessed something and gradually became irritable and pressed the button hard to speed up the video. Fen Lin stayed in the living room, sorting the cans they drank from and never went to the second floor. Later, Fen Lin and Zhao Qingqing left together, and a few minutes later, he returned alone and lay down on the sofa. Apparently he simply went to see Zhao Qingqing off. The picture seems to be still here. Fen Lin has been lying on the sofa without moving. An hour later, Zhu Wang ran down from the second floor and crashed into Fen Lin's stomach. Seeing this, Zhu Wang closed the laptop with a snap. I misunderstood Fen Lin. He then wiped on his clothes and Zhao Qingqing changed them for him. She immediately took out her cell phone and tremblingly dialed. However, Fen Lin immediately hung up. She continued to fight. "Hello, the phone you dialed is turned off." Hearing this voice, Zhu Wang said aggrievedly. He must be angry. Shamu also felt uncomfortable. He immediately got up and walked out. "I'll go find him." He apologized. His character is to dare to love and hate. If he is wrong, he will apologize. He will never play with a girl's reserve. "I know where it is, I will take you there." Zhu Wang thought in the Narcissus Club. Outside the Narcissus Club, the three found Fen Lin's Wulinghongwen Park outside and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. They walked in together and found that there were only employees and no customers. Zhu Wang walked to the waiter in the distance. "Hello? Is Fen Lin here?" "Ladies, wait a moment." The waiter next to the elevator held his headphones and whispered something, then said with a smile. "The people upstairs are down." "Great, he is here." Zhu Wang clenched her fists nervously. At worst, be more sincere in apologizing and give more rewards. Ring. The elevator door opens. Zhu Wang was about to call Fen Lin when she found an old man wheelchair appearing inside. Zhu Wang and Shamu have seen it. Today at Yi's house, Fen Lin was still pushing his wheelchair. "Haha, what are you doing with Fen Lin?" Men Chengsheng turned his wheelchair and looked at them with a smile, feeling that they were fine. "Why doesn't Fen Lin come down?" "We're here to apologize." Shamu walked over and said, "We just wrongly blamed and wronged him." "Did we hurt him?" Men Chengsheng's eyes suddenly narrowed. He held his chin and sighed. He took a deep breath and said, "You guys are late. Fen Lin is gone." He left. Where are they lying to? His car is still outside. Zhu Wang pointed to the door. He didn't want his car and said he wanted to leave Jihangai. "We talked a lot just now. He said he was sincere with you, but you had hurt him." Men Chengsheng shook his head deeply. That. The three people in front of them looked at each other. Did Fen Lin leave angrily? Have you left Jiabai? Zhu Wan's tears fell in the blink of an eye. She took out her mobile phone and dialed Fen Lin's number, but still asked him to turn off her phone. Old man, you lied to us, right? Zhu Ziang asked tremblingly. Why did I lie to you when I had nothing to do? Okay, I swear, Fen Lin left this club about 10 minutes ago. Otherwise, I would be stunned. Men Chengsheng held up 3 fingers, because Fen Lin left 10 minutes ago. Minutes, yes, it was with the King family. Chapter 149 is confusing. Not a man. Cheap, didn't I just accuse you wrongly? Why are you running? Zhu Wang wiped away her tears, turned around and left, preparing to find Fen Lin. Zhu Wang couldn't count the help he gave her. Fen Lin also gave him the company's priceless recipe for free. The same goes for Zhu Ziang. Fen Lin was the one who saved his family. Dad also said that he would never be able to pay it back in his life. Now that he is angry, how can he explain it to his father? This is especially true for Zhamu. Grandma specifically confessed that Fen Lin is the key to saving the Zhao family. If Fen Lin really did something wrong, it would be excusable. The key is that she did nothing and still hurt them, so she may not be able to sleep for the rest of her life. Where are you going? Men Chengsheng asked hurriedly. He hadn't had time to tell the story behind it, so how could he let them go? Where else can we go? Find Fen Lin. Zhu Wang turned around and said, What are you looking for? I am his second master. If I call him and ask him to come, how dare he not agree? Men Chengsheng took out his cigarette case and said calmly, Yes. Second master, please call Fen Lin quickly. Zhu Wang hurriedly turned around, remembering that Fen Lin himself said that this person was his second master. The other 2 people also gathered around. Hey. Fen Lin is really sad this time. His original plan was to marry you. Men Chengsheng sighed deeply. Why don't you agree to marry him as your wife? If I try to persuade you, maybe we can. I'm back. Second master, why are you confused? There are 3 of us. You're crazy. Zhu Wang looked at the 2 people around her and warned. This kind of thing is simple. Wouldn't it be enough to change nationality to a country where you can marry multiple wives? It's not that there are no such countries. Or if you become stateless, China's laws cannot restrict you. Men Chengsheng puffed on his pipe and spoke emphatically. He said deeply. Confused. The 3 beauties in front of me are dumbfounded. How can they continue to play like this? Especially Zhu Wang, she has a strong temper. How could she share her man with others? No. No. Zhu Wang's head shook like a rattle. Hey. This kid Fen Lin is so pitiful. Men Chengsheng sighed deeply. Think about it carefully. I will call him soon, hoping to persuade him to come back. Then, thank you in advance. I am the second master. Zhu Wang nodded, took Zhamu and Zhu Ziang's hands and left. Men Chengsheng glanced at the 3 of them secretly and returned to the elevator with a smile. Fen Lin arrived at King's house and sneezed several times in a row. His appearance made the patron saint of the King family kneel last time, and the rest of the King family now treated him even more politely. Sir, Mr. Quickun is here, Qin Wu said respectfully. Behind Qin Wu was Quickun. Irrelevant people can leave. Fen Lin lowered his voice and said without emotion. Yes. Qin Wu immediately retreated. What are your orders, sir? Quickun prepared to kneel respectfully. No need to kneel, I am not as strict as Mr. C. Fen Lin waved his hand. Thank you, sir. Quickun Gong handed over, but it is normal to think about it. Which of the people under the command of the Holy Lady is not a killing machine? Look, Fen Lin didn't take out the photo, but took a photo of Yi Shen with his mobile phone. Quickun looked at Yi Shen on the phone and lowered his head. Sir, this is the photo they gave me from above, asking me to kill her. Indeed. If Fen Lin guessed correctly, the person in front of him should be Cheng Yan's boss. Do you know who she is? I don't know. If I knew her whereabouts, I would have killed her a long time ago. Quickun shook his head slightly. Fen Lin put away his phone and asked with a smile, I want to know all the news about this woman. It's been a long time. I remember 17 or 8 years ago they gave me a photo and asked me to kill this girl. We were about to start the investigation, but the superiors finished the task. Quickun remembered what had happened, paused and explained. 2 or 3 years ago, the superiors allowed this task to continue. Fen Lin also frowned strangely. This matter is becoming more and more confusing. Fen Lin asked, didn't they give you any new photos? Quickun shook his head. No, it's the same photo of the boy from back then. I don't even know the name. There's just a message. That's fine, thanks. Fen Lin nodded with a smile. Sir, do you have any other instructions? Quickun raised his hand slightly and suddenly found that Fen Lin in front of him had disappeared. He was shocked in his heart. Could it be that this person was also a demon? Fen Lin returned to the Narcissus Club and went directly to the 9th floor. Yi Shen and Yi Dan were still sitting together, and Yi Shen was teaching our mother how to use a laptop. If Yi Shen was 10 years younger, she might have hugged her mother and cried. But he is no longer young and is very happy to know that his mother is still alive and well. Go back. Yi Shen raised his head and asked. Yes, Fen Lin returned Yi Shen's photo. Have you found anything? Yi Dan asked. He said that he received an order to kill Yi Shen 17 or 8 years ago, but he suddenly stopped and then started again 2 or 3 years ago. Fen Lin roughly told them about the investigation. Does that mean my daughter is safe now? You don't know what the girl in this photo looks like? Yi Dan suddenly smiled. No. There is a 9 Netherworld expert hidden in the Wei family, who has already investigated and found out that Yi Shen is the person in the photo. Fen Lin stood up, spread his hands with a smile, and continued to say semi-threatening. Let me say it first, maybe I can help in a small fight, but when I face the big guys in Jiland, I will retreat. After saying that, Fen Lin turned around and left. To put it harshly, Yi Shen was just a chess piece in Fen Lin's hand. Its function is to attract people from the 9 Netherlands. Fen Lin could have asked the 4th son to go to the Wei family and kill anyone who knew about Yi Shen. But he won't do that. Now he is more interested in Yi Dan's past. Boy. Men Cheng Sheng smoked his pipe, started his wheelchair, walked up to Fen Lin and said with a smile, 3 girls came to see you just now. 3. Are they here to apologize? Fen Lin thought. After a while, it should be Zeroing and the others, and they realized that they had wrongly blamed themselves. That's right, these girls are all pretty. If they have more children, I, an old man, can take care of them. Men Cheng Sheng exhaled a puff of smoke. Don't come here, go back. Fen Lin rolled his eyes, took off his human skin mask and went to clean it. He still needs to go to Zhao's house. As a wealthy family, they should know more about the Yi family. At the same time. In Zhu Ruan's villa, the 3 of them were sitting on the sofa again. Haha. Shamu, second mastered Fen Lin said so, are you still willing to marry Fen Lin? Zhu Ruan asked jokingly, but she was unwilling anyway. I'll listen to my grandmother. If my grandmother agrees, I will agree. Shamu looked at him openly and ate the fruit in front of him. Zhu Ruan showed an incredible expression. Could this be the realization of a rich lady? Ying, what about you? Zhu Ruan asked again. I. Zhu Ziyang swallowed the snack and said with a smile. If you are here, I will agree, so we can be together all day. Zhu Ruan held her forehead, wondering if there was something wrong with the 2 of them. Women's brains. How about you? Shamu suddenly looked at Zhu Ruan. We are friends. If you choose to give up Fen Lin, I will be very happy. There is no word give up in my dictionary. Even if we marry him together, I want to be a great wife too. Zhu Ruan puffed out her chest proudly. Is Shamu here? In this moment, Fen Lin's voice came from outside. Chapter 150. These 3 women are still useful. Fen Lin. The 3 of them seemed surprised. Unexpectedly, Fen Lin's second master, who was so intrusive, actually called him here. The 3 ran out together and found a familiar Wuling Huangwen parked outside the villa. Fen Lin poked his head out and shouted, Shamu, I have something to do with you. Zhu Ruan was the first to run over, standing by the window and whispering, Fen Lin, I blamed you incorrectly, I'm sorry. No. Don't you want to see me again? Look back, I'm not looking for you this time. Fen Lin waved his hand at Zhu Ruan. I'm sorry, I was wrong, isn't it okay? Zhu Ruan puffed her mouth slightly, her expression a little aggrieved. Zhu Ziyang also said, Yes, Fen Lin, we all apologize, why are you not a man at all? Oh, you wronged me, scolded me, and dared to bite me. You just said I'm sorry and you want me to forgive you. Fen Lin pursed his lips and waved at them. Then where will you stay? So what do you want us to do before you forgive us? Zhu Ruan also knew that he hurt Fen Lin this time. A lot, so he raised his head and asked the way. Fen Lin opened the car door, looked at the people in front of him, and said with a smile, I want to relax. You. Zhu Ruan pointed at Fen Lin, then took a deep breath and nodded silently. Okay, follow me. Fen Lin raised his eyebrows in surprise. Something was wrong with Zhu Ruan. Did he really dare to agree? Under Zhu Ruan's leadership, Fen Lin returned to the living room. Sit down. Zhu Ruan took Fen Lin's hand and asked her to sit on the sofa. And Zhu Ziyang saw this, they understood that they could also do this kind of relaxation. The 2 sat on either side of Fen Lin, patting Fen Lin's legs. Fen Lin closed his eyes and felt quite good. He took out his phone and looked at it. Time. It was still early anyway, so I just wanted to enjoy it, okay? Zhuang is sitting in front. Fen Lin waved his hand very domineeringly. Zhuang blushed slightly, but since it was his fault, he heard it. Finally, Fen Lin rested on Zhuang's legs while Zhu Ziang slapped his legs vigorously. Shamu took the cut fruits and stuffed them into Fen Lin's mouth one by one. Ah. Not bad. Fen Lin breathed and suddenly realized that these women were of some use and were not that bad. I do not want to play. Half an hour later, Zhu Ziang suddenly stood up, shook his hand, and murmured, "Why are Zhang and Shamu still sitting there while I continue massaging you? My hands are sore. You're the only one here. You have no right to speak." Fen Lin pointed at Zhu Ziang and said, "You, hun." Zhu Ziang lowered her head and looked at herself. How could it be smaller? Obviously this is normal. She ran up the stairs angrily. "Fen Lin, you have gone too far," Zhuang said from the side. "Forget it, let's rest and get to work." Fen Lin stood up from the sofa, stretched and looked at Shamu. "Follow me back to Zhao's house. I have something to do with your grandmother." "Okay." Shamu nodded. For the first time, Zhuang did not ask the reason, but instead went upstairs, preparing to comfort Zhu Ziang. Fen Lin also did not drive, took Shamu's car and headed to the mountain from Zhao. The two had just arrived and saw Wei Kenyang at the door. He noticed the car and asked with a surprised look, "Shamu, I went to look for you and learn that you were not at home." Mu opened the car window and calmly said to Wei Kenyang, "I still have it's urgent, go back first." Wei Kenyang saw Fen Lin sitting in the passenger seat through the window. His eyes became more and more gloomy. The last time he sent someone to kill him, he failed, so Wei Kenyang was going to send in Jin's masters, but his grandfather stopped him. His grandfather said that big things happened in Yun City recently and asked him to. As expected, the Kane family also successfully entered a rich family. Wei Kenyang originally thought that the big matter was over, but he didn't expect that something would happen to the Yi family again. That's why it has been delayed until now. It seems we have to act immediately. Otherwise, Fen Lin will get into trouble and dare to marry Shamu. Fen Lin in the car raised his chin and asked, "Don't you like this guy? I think he is very nice to you." At first I thought it was nice, until Grandma put her information in front of me. I don't know how disgusting it is. Shamu pursed his lips coldly. If he didn't have a scapegoat every time, Shamu wouldn't have caught him so many times. Fen Lin looked at the scenery outside the window, his expression frozen. Wait for the people from Jialan to come and catch him, and then deal with the Wei family. The mountain behind the Zhao family. Shamu took Fen Lin to a courtyard here. The area is not very large. Zhao Chen, an old man, was lying on an armchair outside the door, listening to a novel. He noticed movement and immediately opened his eyes and stood up from the recliner. "Master Zhao, please inform me that Fen Lin wants to see Grandma." Shamu was very respectful to Zhao Chen and also learned some of her fighting skills from Zhao Chen. "I'm here." Zhao Xi turned his wheelchair and appeared from the yard from a distance. Fen Lin patted Shamu on the shoulder and said with a smile, "It's none of your business. What are you going to tell my grandmother? I can't even be there." Shamu was a little sad. Zhao Xi replied, "Of course I'm talking about the private matter of marrying you. If you want to listen, I won't stop you." "Grandmother." Shamu's pretty face suddenly turned red. She looked at Fen Lin secretly, and immediately turned around and ran away. Zhao Xi leaned on the wheelchair, raised his chin and asked, "Zhao Cheng is one of us, there is no need to avoid him." "Grandpa, I came here to ask something about the Yi family." Fen Lin walked over with a smile, sitting on a rock. "Family? What do you want to know?" Zhao Xi smiled kindly. "About 30 years ago, since Yi Dan became pregnant and returned to the Yi family, I want to know everything you know about Yi Dan." "Yi Dan? She is a very smart girl. Speaking of which, she once said that I am in love with my son. I like her too." Zhao Xi looked into the distance, lost in thought, but my son is too cowardly and let the Wei family take the initiative. "Wei family? Doesn't the Wei family have a grudge against the Yi family?" Fen Lin asked in surprise. "There was a grudge, but there was no such thing 30 years ago. The Wei family's eldest son, Wei Zhen, had a son who also liked Yi Dan, so the Wei family proposed marriage." Zhao Xi paused and continued, "The Yi family also agreed, but this girl, Yi Dan, refused to obey their discipline and took the opportunity to escape." "I understand. It turns out that the two families are at odds." Fen Lin nodded. "No. It's just an escape from marriage, not so much." Zhao Xi shook his head slightly and explained, "Later, Wei Zhen's son said he wanted to find Yi Shen, and half a year later, the police brought her body. Lin frowned. Wei's son died unexpectedly. At first, the Wei family did not suspect the Yi family. Even the Yi family was helping to find the murderer. It wasn't until a year later that Yi Dan appeared with a big belly, Zhao said with a smile. Lin thought about it and understood what was going on. A year after Wei's son died, Yi Dan still has them. She had given birth to a child, which proved that the child was definitely not from the Wei family. In all likelihood, Wei's son was killed by Yi Dan or the child's father. End of this chapter. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This story is completely available on Patreon. I invite you to subscribe and enjoy all the content.